trying to turn him into like ski
Oh.
mode.
Speaking of,
There we are. We are live.
Just immediately.
little tiny guy
Yeah.
found this in a box today, and I have no idea what he goes to.
Well, let's see. Oh, I know what that is. That is a mini con named Iceberg, I think. I think he's in part of a team of 3. Let me just look that up really quick.
While we're looking that up, welcome everyone to another episode of Freestyle Frenzy Sundays with Children of Primus Crew.
Mm-hmm. Yep, his name's Iceberg. He's a minicon from Transformers Armada, and he's part of a team of 3 with Dune Runner and Ransack. Dune Runner's a dune buggy, and Ransack's like a jeep. And there we go.
I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, so there's 2 more to that set. Just trying to make sure that I'm decently lit. But yes, welcome to all the viewers. Things have started out a little bit chaotic, but you know they typically do.
Oh yes,
My cat's hogging the spotlight.
that is exactly how we do.
Mm-hmm. And we're here today to discuss races and species, but I'll let Spin direct how things go because he's the director man.
Well, it's actually a topic that was inspired by Mr. Magnus a few weeks
interesting.
ago. Yeah, so it's between TFCon and just everything else, we never had a chance to properly focus on it. So now tonight is that night.
Yeah, that's like I have thoughts on that. I just finished reading IDW's Beast Wars comic, and that has some relevance to that discussion.
Nice.
Because of how they handle certain things in there. And in my comic book reading club, we've just hit Marvel's Generation 2 comic, which also has some interesting stuff in that regard.
Okay.
So it's just by happenstance something that's been on my mind. There we go. There we go.
It's just a theory that I came up with long ago that the reason that we have repeats, get away from the money value. Get away from the fact that all they got to do is change the color of the plastic that goes in it and they get different jets.
Yeah.
All they got to do is change the color that goes into it and they get different Datsuns.
Mm-hmm.
They get different bands. Get away from that.
You're looking for the Watsonian explanation.
Yes.
The reason why that they have the same body styles, they look the same, but then they have little differences, like the horns are different between Prowl and Blue Streak.
Mm-hmm.
Smokescreen doesn't even have horns. The Jets have basically everything about them the same except for their colors and some of the facial features. The yellow eyes of Thrust. That's because these are not just their body styles, it's their races.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, the Seekers could basically be their own species.
Correct.
These weird winged creatures that all look slightly similar.
Right. In both forms. Both forms, they're all the same except for the colors of them.
Yeah. I mean, there's already, canonically speaking, Sunstreaker and Sideswiper brothers, and they have the same kind of alternate mode, so there's precedence for genetic relations having similar appearances already.
Right. Red Alert would be thrown in there, and Cordon.
Yeah. It never comes up in the West, but in Takara media, Red Alert's considered a third brother to Sunstreaker and Sideswipe.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Or we could say a cousin.
Mm-hmm.
But
Perhaps.
that would also mean that, somewhere down the lines, we're going to find somebody that's related to Starscream and all them.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, what's someone who's related to Starscream? Would they be, the complete opposite of him as they would do in some shows or movies where you have a character that's like completely evil, and then they just happen to have this relative that's completely, the perfect angel in a sense.
That would be an interesting way to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me think about how Shattered Glass Starscream is just the loyalist version of him. See, something interesting. The reason I brought up Beast Wars is I have this idea as sort of a larger theory. It was present on the show, but it's also present in the IDW comics, where they treat the Maximals and Predacons after all these years of separate evolution as though they're completely different species that happen to inhabit the same planet, which is not something that's present in Generation 1, but by the time we get to the sequels, that's very much like a thing. And in the Marvel Generation 2 comic, there's a version of that too, because I guess you're just going to look at this pepperoni while I talk. Because G-Haxis and his group of characters, they left Cybertron during the 4 million year gap, went to another place in the galaxy, learned how to reproduce through budding, literally like a cell, and they have a whole different Cybertronian empire there, and they regard themselves as a different, more evolved species at that point too. G-Axis might just be full of hot air, though, so that remains to be seen. I'm not done the comic yet.
Wow. Well, I'm just thinking back in the G1 cartoons, there's a few times they've kind of indicated races and species within the Transformers. One thing is looking at the poster that I put together. A lot of the earlier Autobots are all somewhat truck based.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring the image back. There we go. Yeah, so somewhat between Wheeljack, but then you look at Cup and Orion and a lot of the female Autobots, like all of them basically had the same design style, which was like almost like a pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think in almost all the continuities, somewhere along the lines in their backstories, I'm going to say 90% of the Autobots were like your factory workers.
Mm-hmm.
It would make sense for them to be able to haul materials.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the cartoons Quintesson Origin, they talk about, like industrial robots versus military robots, and that being the basis of Autobots and Decepticons initially.
Yes.
Right.
In universes where they are like mass production robots instead of, naturally occurring life forms.
Which then eventually over the years, and one of the episodes that was kind of hinted with Alpha Trion, where the industrial robots started to revolt against the military robots.
Mm-hmm. Oh, something interesting that might become relevant that I just remembered. So you know how just this week they debuted the first trailer for the new Transformers show, Earthspark. There's official advertisements up about what the story is about, and the story might deal with its own race of Transformers again, because the initial pitch is those kids find like a pool of proto matter, and they find protoforms, and those protoforms become the first generation of Transformers that are born on Earth, who call themselves Terrans instead of Autobots and Decepticons. That's the pitch for the current show. So you have your classic characters around. You have these new ones that were literally born on Earth and are like a separate group.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a post-war setting too. Like the war already happened in the past and is over now. So that's informing. That's a little bit of the reason behind it too.
Oh, okay. I definitely have to check it out then.
Yeah, I'm really interested in whatever they're going to do with it. Sorry, say again.
What platform is that broadcast on? Do you know? What platform is that being broadcast on?
Yeah, it's going to be on Paramount Plus apparently in like November, but then different other streaming services or in other countries. But yeah, they say Paramount Plus. But I mean, it'll be any show worth its salt will probably be very easy to find once it's airing.
Yes. There's always ways to track down pretty much like any of the shows.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess a question to you. I guess like how many races, races and species would you say possibly exist within your theory, and how would they relate to say like humans?
And where do Ravage and Laserbeak and the Beast Formers fit in?
Yes.
We covered that. We actually covered that. Soundwave and Blaster,
Mm-hmm.
we just assume that they're light posts because
Right.
that's what Soundwave was, standing right beside the Autobot headquarters out there, blending in with other lamp posts on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's not a lamp post? What if it's actually a distribution factory or a distribution site? And the reason why he has that crew inside of him is that's the crew that actually does the work for him. Those are his factory workers.
Yeah.
That's why each of them have a couple of guys with arms and legs. They have guard dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to protect the factory. You got to protect the distribution.
Yeah, so both of them have workers and both of them have guard dogs in a sense, or guard cats.
Correct.
Something I just remembered about Ravage and Laserbeak that would be interesting. In the movie universe, there was promotional materials that referred to those versions of them as re-engineered Cybertronian wildlife that had been like tamed and modified by Soundwave to serve as agents. So in some universes, that's what they are, like actual animals instead of like Transformers. They've just been like upgraded to some extent.
So he took a wild animal and shoved it in his chest.
Yeah.
That man's got balls.
Yeah.
Hey, cats like to be in boxes, so maybe it's an extension of that.
That works for Steeljaw as well.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as how many different races, how many different forms do we have? Each one would be a race or sub race of each one of the races of Cybertron, and we're not necessarily with the WFC, the Rage Across the Galaxy. We find that there's other Transformers on other planets. A Lifeline, Corden, and oh hell, I can't think of his name. The one that came with Corden.
Spin Out.
They were from different planets. They were on a different planet. If you got those things, and they had that map that was in there, and it showed the trek across the galaxy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in a lot of media, these are usually defined as like Cybertronian colonies from the distant past.
So they do base back to Cybertron?
Yeah. Like in the aligned universe, for example, there was an era of colonies, and then most of these colonies got forgotten because eventually the space bridges went down, and so it's a matter of rediscovering them years later. It was like that in the Prime universe. It was like that in Transformers Cybertron. There could be a bit of that in Earthrise. Like they keep it a little bit vague.
All right, I'm on board with that. I like it. One of the next things along this same line with the races is that when Teletran reformatted everybody in their Earth mode, she reformatted them to something similar to what they were on Cybertron, but on Earth. Tetras became F-15s. Whatever kind of truck Optimus was became an 18-wheeler. Sports cars became sports cars. Speedsters became speedsters. Megatron.
Yeah.
Megatron was turned into a handgun on Earth. That means that he was some sort of a handgun on Cybertron. Just like Shockwave. Shockwave's never been to Earth.
Yeah.
But he still transforms into a handgun, be it a big one. You know, he showed him sitting up there on that pedestal like a cannon. Okay. But if they're handguns of some sort on Cybertron, that would make Shockwave and Megatron the first target masters. And if that's true, who are they beholden to?
You know, that and is there any relation to them in terms of, you know, whoever designed them, as like are they any form of distant relatives? Are there any other gun type Transformers that existed back then?
Right. Well, there's a fandom out there that talks about Soundwave. That Soundwave was also in the arenas and was one of the most feared fighters because his weapons were Shockwave and Megatron.
Oh, interesting.
Now, that'd be scary. Could you imagine going up against somebody that's dual wielding Shockwave in one hand and Megatron in the other, and he's got a virtual army in his chest at his beck and call?
Yeah,
you know, and it's Soundwave. Like Soundwave is already a feared character within the Decepticons. So it's like him wielding all these other feared characters in his arsenal.
I can probably.
I do it. He was my favorite part of Prime. He was my favorite part in Prime because he never spoke. He just played back. And whenever people would speak to him, whenever he was pissed off, he just kind of leaned toward them.
Yep.
I quickly pulled up an image there.
The hell out of everyone. I loved him in Prime. I loved him in Transformers Prime.
No, he was good. They did a good job with him in Prime.
Yeah. I just briefly brought up a picture from the IDW comics of Megatron's like Cybertronian gun mode because it existed in that continuity. So it appeared briefly in a flashback.
Interesting.
It's not too different. They just made it look like a science fiction gun instead. But also, the funny thing is, in IDW, he went through a bunch of different bodies, and he was a tank most of the time. He just mentioned that he was a gun at one point for a little while there in some of the captions. They just showed a picture. But there's a visual representation of that. I'm just hunting around here to try and create that scenario that you described.
Well, then going with that theory in terms of like family relations, would that put Megatron Brawl Megatron Brawl and Warpath and Blitzwing in the same, you know, in the same kind of category?
Maybe could they all be Is Megatron like gun on his mom's side and tank on his dad's side,
That's
or
funny.
the other way around?
Or the other way around. I'm gonna say, what's up to Primetime Steven on YouTube? He's joined us once again. Steven's also mentioned just picked up buzzworthy Bumblebee Dinobot today.
Yeah, that's a Toy Colors version of him, instead of his like TV show colors one like I got. People have been kind of making fun of it because the particular tan of his hide makes him look a little bit like an uncooked chicken. Let me see if I can find a picture. Yeah.
Nice.
Let me just pop the buzzworthy Bumblebee.
Actually, what gun is that Soundwave has in his? Let's see, that would be in his right hand.
This one
Oh,
here?
I was literally trying to just do what you were doing. You just got there first. That's Shockwave and Megatron from the Centurion kit. I was literally putting the exact setup together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's the exact situation you described. And yeah, there's a buzzworthy Bumblebee Dinobot in all of his uncooked chicken glory.
Yes, now I can see why. He looks like uncooked chicken.
Yeah. Other people were like, that robot mode looks uncomfortably like a person in orange trunks and orange boots.
Wow, that's quite opposite from what Dinobot usually is.
Yeah, that's the colors of his original figure. They just made him look like not that for the show.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, did you guys see that? Also, we should talk at some point about the stuff that was unveiled at the SDCC when we're not talking about species, because there's a few things came out. They're going to be doing a set that's going to be coming out in November of Orion Pax and Alpha Trion. It's going to be an exclusive. We finally got to see. Oh yeah, hi Calvin. He said I did a video reel on this buzzworthy Dinobot. What's up, everybody? We're talking about species and races in Transformers, and are the people that are repaints of each other, the same species? What about the people that have the same alternate mode? Are all the guns related? Are all the tanks related? Are all the tiny little mini bot cars related? What about all the sets?
I want to say with the mini bots, if so, how come the majority of them all have masks?
Yeah,
Because the place on Cybertron that they're from is toxic.
Oh,
interesting.
Then what about Beachcomber? Because he doesn't have one.
Yeah, here's a page talking about it. Well, his toy does. It just never got used on the show.
Is a botanist. He's really
Zoom in. Dang. But yeah. Here we go. Yeah, so this is the Orion Pax and Alpha Trion set that they're going to be doing. Technically, Alpha Trion is Scourge with a bunch of new parts, and technically Orion Pax is Cup with a bunch of new parts, but it's not very obvious just from looking at them.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have picked up on that.
Yeah, it comes with a new Vector Sigma, a new key to Vector Sigma.
Cool.
Just trying to figure out the best way to get this viewer to work with me. Where is it? Oh, it's a digibash instead of the actual thing. Okay, I guess I gotta deal with the weirdness on IGN's page. Yeah, there we go. There's a nice close up. Yeah, like it's very different from Studio Series Cup and Studio Series Scourge because they added like a new head, a new torso, all those things. And yeah, it's just basically just like a War Dawn set.
Okay.
Now, where's their alternate modes? Yeah, you can definitely see they're here that it's Scourge with some parts changed around.
Interesting.
There's Orion Pax's alternate mode.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I like
the
it.
thing he's known for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be real interesting when that comes out. Let's see if I can.
And what set is that coming? What set?
It's called A Hero Is Born 2-pack. It's going to be available for pre-order on Pulse in November. Yeah. So that was just announced this week, and I'm trying to see if I can find the legacy reveals too.
Primetime Steven on YouTube mentioned we need a DEF CON from the Alpha Trion mold.
That would be great. Because that's been done before. In BotCon did him as a Scourge retool. There we go. Official images of the SDCC guys. Yeah. So yeah, we got Armada Starscream. He's getting the new Voyager. Target Master Point Blank. And they've specifically said they're not showing any accessories or alternate modes yet, just the main guys.
Nice.
Crankcase.
I think Point Blank didn't get enough love in the original series.
Yeah, so he's getting a brand new figure, which means he might appear in stuff too.
Nice.
There's Crankcase, the TriggerCon. The next Stunticon, Dead End. We all knew he was coming, obviously, but now we get to see what he looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's a big one for me. Dragon Megatron, Transmetal 2 Megatron. It's going to be a big leader class figure.
Nice.
So that's Beast Wars Megatron's like final boss form from the end of the show.
Do you need him?
Yeah.
Do you need the original one?
I would rather pick up the update to go along with the other updated guys that I have.
I have a broken one.
Yeah.
His wing, and that's the only thing that's broken on him is his wing. But because it's broken, it's still catched by like the rubber, but like where the hinge is for the wing, the two end caps are broke off of it. And I would, well, you're in Canada though; it costs a fortune to send it up there. But,
Yeah.
Well, we'll make it happen somehow. He just put a hole in one of my shelves.
Yeah. Then, of course, Beast Wars Inferno as well. You know, another guy who's finally like completing the season 1 cast. I love what they did with his head there. And then Skullgrin, the Pretender. Who's now a normal guy wearing a skull face. And then, the set we already talked about. And yeah, that's what they announced at the San Diego Comic-Con outside of all that stuff from the Legacy TV show.
Cool.
I mean, not Legacy TV show. Earthspark. That's the name of the show.
Right. I see Magnus. Mr. Magnus has something there.
Yep. There's the original guy. I had one of those back in the day too. Oh, that dangly wing. That's nasty.
Yes. Both caps are broke off of each side of the pin here, and so the wing just hangs by that piece in the center.
At least it's like evenly broken? Question mark.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could do that. I could possibly fix it, but you know that red metallic paint's going to be a bitch to match.
Oh god, yeah. Hey, the new one will have less gimmicks, but he will also have less chrome, so he'll probably last longer visually.
So, Kyle said I did a video reel on this buzzworthy Dinobot. What's up, everyone?
Yeah, we said hi.
Yes, and Primetime Steven on YouTube says we need a DEF CON from Alpha Trion mode, and Calva said They should have done this in an MP series.
I mean, they still might. Just let me try and find the last time they did.
He kind of, when you look at him like this, he kind of reminds me of Mushu from Mulan.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh wow!
The irresistible Mushu.
The fact that you make his jaw flap was the best.
Well, come on, YouTube says that the remolds are killing me, and then also says DEF CON will be getting the blur mold.
I could see that happening. I got a picture up here of the last time they did a DevCon, which he was a BotCon 2014 figure, and he was another Scourge retool, the Generations one that changed into a stealth bomber. Yeah, so he's had exactly one guy. It wasn't mass released. It was a BotCon guy. I would certainly welcome another crack at him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, since they came out with like that perfect looking G-Axis, I could only see what they'll do for DEF CON in the future.
Oh yeah, it was funny because I was reading the Generation 2 comic and I'm like, wow, we just got to this and the G-Axis figure is just coming out now. It's like this comic from the 90s is trying to sell me on this guy that just came out.
Nice. Yeah, like that is perfect timing.
Yeah, because he's like the main bad guy in that, and gets a lot of screen time and gets to do a lot of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he didn't have a figure, Simon Furman was like just doing whatever he wanted at that point. So he was like, I'm just going to make up my own bad guy.
Well, I will soon get to some news to catch up on. I just realized that Omega Supreme is also a tank, so I wonder if he falls into the Omega Supreme. And there's one other of the newer line of Autobots, and he was a target master.
You talking about?
I think Omega Supreme was a Guardian, wasn't he? He was a sentient Guardian.
Yes, which I was going to say. I was going to say in terms of Guardian robots, them being their own race in a sense.
Yeah, we saw their lineage on the show just like backwards. First they were the purple Dark Guardians under the Quintessons, and then they were the blue Guardian robots, and then Omega Supreme was the last and the best of them.
Mm-hmm.
And in later years, starting in IDW and including in most modern media, nowadays all giant-sized Transformers are their own species called Titans.
Right. Well, I was going to say, in any of the iteration of storylines, has there been any other Guardian robot that was converted as Omega Supreme was?
There was a character in Transformers Energon called Omega Sentinel, who was, a blue version of him, basically, like as a homage to the blue Guardian robots in the cartoon.
Okay.
I think it was just like a toy-only thing. I don't know if he was on the show at all or anything. Yeah.
That's the legacy reveals. Let's see what else we can track down.
I popped those up in advance because I was just like really eager about them.
All right, so I've got like this box of parts.
Oh, interesting.
That I'm repairing with. Oh, it's just stuff that I repair with, But before I go cutting on these to try and fix this dragon, do y'all recognize these? Am I fixing to destroy something that I need to save for somebody else?
I don't recognize those.
Yeah, that's those are out of my league as well.
Good.
They look almost like Lego.
Yeah, but they're bigger than Lego. That was the first thing I did. I thought, oh well, this might be something that goes on all these Lego pieces, but it's bigger than Lego. All right, so you are now going to get shredded.
Oh boy. I would be too anxious to do that myself. I admire the gumption. It'd be like, as soon as I shred it, I'm going to discover the thing that it's that it comes from.
Too late now.
Every time I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it goes to.
Well, I've got a bunch of gutted bots. I've got a bunch of gutted bots here. I think it probably was from the Protector bots. I think it may have been one of his pieces, but he's absolute garbage. This piece is, so that's where most of these parts come from. I think that this is going to fit on here fairly nice. Once I trim it down, I might have to heat it up and reshape it.
What are you turning it into?
Those caps for the wing. I've already pulled the pin.
Oh, okay. Live repairs.
Might be a little big.
Yeah.
That's 90% of what I'm doing whenever I'm sitting here. I mean, y'all seen the Megatron that I rebuilt.
I've just been, like I said, messing around with this third-party hubcap.
Wheel jack.
Out.
I rebuilt a Jazz for my daughter. That's her favorite character, and I found a G1. I found 3 G1 Jazzes and put them together. Frankenstein.
Oh, nice.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's Spin, did you ever glue those clips onto your Omega Supreme? Speaking of figure fixes,
No, not as yet. It's on my list of things to do. I've had way too many things to do this week, or last week, I should say.
That is very understandable.
But I know it's sitting there, so I know he's not going anywhere. What is funny is like one of the episode references when he's like stuck and they're telling him like don't go anywhere. He's like, I have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I've combined stuff like that before to like make new figures, basically, like make fresh ones.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I go ahead.
I was going to say I posted about it on the Children of Primus reviews at one point. I made like a best possible Optimus by combining the Earthrise one, the Netflix one, some of the Centurion stuff, and like a Toy Hacks label kit. Yeah.
Just Frankenstein them, or?
Yeah, like the cab from the Netflix guy, the Matrix from the Earthrise one, the trailer from the Earthrise one, roller from Centurion set, and I stuck Toy Hack stuff all over the Earthrise trailer to fix the interior.
All right.
Just like making the best possible version out of like all the pieces.
Frankenprime.
Yeah, Frankenprime, straight up.
Yep.
Watch them like release a best possible version to make all that effort like have been pointless. This guy, man, this hubcap I've been trying to get going. He is like ludicrously complicated. This is the Ocular Max one. The Masterpiece one that was like a TFCon. Oh, hey, I didn't even notice Pep was in the window behind me. Yeah, the Ocular Max one that was like a TFCon Chicago exclusive. I sort of got him into car mode before, but like none of it pegged together because I hadn't figured a lot of it out. Now I'm just trying to get him back to robot mode. The instructions are not the most helpful. I'm just kind of stumbling around in the dark. But
60 instructions. Yep, 60 instructions, and a few of them like you just have to figure out on your own.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're not even a lot of steps. There's just some of the images are so indistinct in terms of like the illustrations and like the arrows and
Right.
stuff that I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at or what they want me to do in this picture.
Well, that's like what I was telling you all about that HasLab Unicron. If you put him together
Yeah.
the way the directions tell you to put him together, you break him.
Mm.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, I've definitely like, and I've said this even, sometimes I'll give tips on this when I review a figure on the website. I'll be like, listen, there's a better way to do this than the order in the instructions. Here's what it is. Because sometimes there is, even when they're clear. I'm just like, panels like these ones here. I'm just like, that's just a pile of stuff. What do I do?
Let's see.
Even, trust me, if it wasn't blurry, it wouldn't be any clearer.
Right.
There's obvious stuff like that stuff, but like this stuff, I'm like, I don't even know. But I could look up video reviews. Professor D says it's not ludicrously complicated. It's just masterpiece level engineering. Yeah, I was gonna say like I'll probably figure it out eventually, but I also like have the Generations one right here that is hella easier.
Nice.
Not a lot
Yeah.
smaller too.
And Professor D also says hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh no!
So you have Hubcap, you have Bumblebee, you have Cliff Jumper, you have Bumper, and you have Tap Out, and you have Glyph. Are they all the same race / species? Because they're all, not only are they all mini bots, but they're all mini bots that transform the exact same way into similar vehicles. You know, the hood feet, the hood chest, the roof chest, all that.
That's my theory. That's my fandom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, because I believe Cliff Jumper is a Porsche.
Yeah.
And is Hubcap also a Porsche?
Yeah, Hubcap is a retooling of Cliff Jumper that keeps the same vehicle mode. So yeah, he's also
Right.
a Porsche.
Which then would make Jazz and one of the Stunticons one of their like a close cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a cousin. It just means that they're from the same area.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're of the same race.
Let's see. Are there any other Porsche Transformers that we know of?
Probably.
See, that's one of the things that broke my heart was that my sports car that I drove when I was younger, and I still own it. What the Transformer that they made of him is Tailgate, and
Ooh. Yeah.
I had a '78 Formula Firebird, and I was like, "Hey, I never even knew the Tailgate was a Firebird until I looked it up." And I was like, "What Transformers were Firebirds?" And I was like, "Really?
Mm-hmm.
Come on!"
Just that one.
Or not Tailgate, not Tailgate.
One that wasn't in anything. Yeah. Well, Windcharger and Tailgate because they're retools of each other.
Right.
And actually, one of the Omnibots is also the same kind of vehicle.
Oh yeah. Are the Omnibots a race unto themselves because all three of them have that like pop out weapons feature?
Interesting, because that would also throw in the deluxe Insecticons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are they also their own race?
Yeah. Well, generally the Insecticons are presented as being like their own species in most modern stuff, which makes sense. Considering how different they are and their strange set of abilities.
Right. Even in the original the G1 cartoon, that they were found in an old pod.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were on that shuttle with Megatron and everybody else. They just, whenever their ship fell apart, they landed in that swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Which then questions how did they eventually get Earth insect modes. I mean, since the Decepticons crashed together with the Autobots and they were reformatted by Teletran. Teletran didn't reformat the Insecticons.
I would say that they were already insects.
Yeah, that was my assumption
Thus
too.
the name is Insecticon. You know,
Right.
that they were already some sort of space bug, but they weren't destroyed. That is their actual original form.
Right.
Right. I don't
Which-
know why, but for some, it seems like all movies that take Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Most of your advanced forms are insectoid.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it in Star Trek Voyager.
With the salamanders.
Huh? Yeah. But the insects are their, just like, our cockroaches are going to survive the nuclear winter here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what I've decided to do here, I'm going to add layer and layer and layer of epoxy on this until I get the right shape, and then I'm going to drill the hole out.
Huh.
Oh.
I just have to sit here and work it so it doesn't get down into any of the moving stuff.
Yeah. There, Hubcap's back to his robot mode properly.
Where's my mouse? There we go.
Yeah. You can here's the Generation Selects one, the Earthrise guy, and here's the Ocular Max one. A little bit bigger, a little bit more posable, infinitely more complicated to transform. It comes with Cliff Jumper's ski parts, because he's a Cliff Jumper retool. Comes with Cliff Jumper's big cannon he tried to zap Megatron with.
Nice.
It comes with a couple of pistols around here somewhere too. Yeah, here they are in this bag. Yeah. Two different ones. And, yeah, I'm gonna try and turn him into a car now. Again, see if I can pull it off this time properly. Yeah.
Well, actually, I have to run just for a few seconds, but while doing that, let me throw on some other news.
Oh, okay. I can probably chat about whatever's going on there.
Yes.
Yeah. In the meantime, what are we looking at? Studio Series 86 RC shipping from Amazon. And there's a video review. Is that out yet? I haven't. See, I got all this stuff at TFCon, so that made me kind of stop paying attention to like the market for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to this because it's like I've ranted in the past. This looks like the best mainline RC they've done yet.
Have y'all heard about Red Cog yet?
Red Cog, yeah. Red Cog is the sequel to the Centurion set, in that he's a weaponizer with a bunch of accessories.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully he comes out up here. Toys R Us would carry him because he's a Target guy in the US. That seems like a good set to get in general, just because weapons expansions are always nice. Yeah. But also that Red Cog has a part so that he can attach to Earthrise RC's back like they did on the Netflix series, because the figures couldn't previously do that.
Right. He also comes with the Lita sniper rifle.
Yeah. And just a bunch of weapons that were like really specifically on the show. Yeah. It's a nice looking set of stuff.
Oh, Kevin on YouTube says, "Yep, she's out." As the article says, Amazon has shipped out quite a few new Transformers toys recently. One of those is RC, which has yet to be found at brick and mortar.
Yeah, they shipped out a bunch of stuff like right at once. Apparently, like all the Wreckers things dropped at the same time. I know people in the who went in on like a bunch of those sets thinking they were going to be staggered, just suddenly being like, I just got charged for everything at the same time. Like every one of those Wreckers figures. Yeah,
Wow.
but this is certainly a good time for RC because you have this Studio Series figure, and you have the Bumblebee version that'll be out. That's out slash coming out as well.
Hmm.
She's just really getting her due when it comes to like good releases, and I'm really happy to see that. Oh yeah, that's another guy that came out at SDCC. I forgot about the companion piece to the Diaclone Ironhide repaint. This is a DK3 Breaker, Diaclone Trailbreaker. Yeah, it's just Trailbreaker, but blue, like like his Diaclone colors. Yeah. Um, again, like a really basic name. It's literally just Breaker. But I'm like, hey, blue. If you think blue looks nicer than black, that's your guy.
Hmm.
Yeah. Between him, DK2 Guard, and Lift Ticket, they have all the primary colors of Diaclone taken care of.
Nice.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a Pulse thing. Oh, hey, there's my last review. It's of Blaster and Eject. I pointed out what an unfair showdown that is because Soundwave has like every tape and Blaster's got like one tape at the moment. This guy snuck up on me with how good he is. I took a picture there of Ultra Magnus carrying him.
Oh, let me see if I can find that one.
Yeah, it's near the bottom because it's when I get into talking about his alternate mode. Yeah, I talked about how all he does in Marvel is talk about his Electro Scrambler weapon.
Right, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, like it's like he's getting paid by the advertisement. Yeah, there's me comparing Eject to some other guys.
Oh, where's Ultra Magnus?
Just got to get into his alternate mode if you want to see him.
Oh, that's funny. Blaster
Lamppost.
Lamppost. Yeah.
Well, he does it well, right?
Oh,
he transforms
fully.
similarly to Soundwave, so.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Siege
Gonna
Soundwave
party.
really well.
We're gonna party like it's 1986.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he can hold it up and everything. Blaster turned out. Oh, Calvin says I have Springer and Twin Twist. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they all shipped at once, so I guess they're in everybody's hands already.
Wow.
Yeah. There's probably going to be a second series of Wreckers, so presumably they'll do a top spin to go along with that Twin Twist. Because why would you only do the one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I missed out on Twin Twist. It broke my heart. It was sold out by the time I got there.
Oh no. Well,
Yeah,
someone somewhere has that copy of Twin Twist, and it was just a question of they'll be honest about selling at an honest price.
Mhm.
Right. I did pick up the 3 Omnibots this weekend. The original set, and I mean, dude, if they come in looking as good as the pictures, it's gonna be phenomenal. But they're complete with instructions, and they look like they were just taken out of the package. I mean,
Oh wow!
Nice.
Yeah.
and I was
Nice.
checking, and that was something that was never, reprinted. So it's not a scam. It's not somebody trying to push a newly printed something off as an older one. I got epoxy on my table, damn it.
Those guys are. I would think they would be uncommon, right? Because they were just like mail away figures.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that whenever he put it up on Liberated, and he didn't know who they were, and
Wow.
so a few of us jumped on there and were like, those were the Omnibots that were a mail order thing. It's camshaft or downshift, camshaft, and overdrive.
Mhm.
And I said, if you're interested in unloading them, if you want to sell them or trade them, hit me up. Well, he sent me a message, so I just ran over to eBay real quick and checked the sold prices. Holy shit! They proud of them bastards, and people buying them for that.
Wow.
Now they're between 80 and 120 each.
Each.
Boy.
Each,
Interesting.
and he was like, "So make me an offer." And I said, "Dude, I don't want to make you an offer." I said, "You tell me what you want. I'm gonna tell you. I just went to eBay and saw the sold prices, and they're going from this much to this much.
Hmm.
What would you part with them for?" And we haggled back and forth a little bit, and I'm picking them all three of them up. Like I said, in that condition for 160.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, I'm so yeah. TF Nation 2022. I'm so like now. I'm not in the UK obviously because that's a UK convention, but I'm still annoyed. I'm going to be offline and on vacation while this is happening because if there's any big news from these panels, it'll come out on the net and I won't be around to hear about it. Like
Right.
Brian Ruckley being at TF Nation 2022 would be interesting because his comic just ended, so now's the point where he can talk about like all the spoilers and everything because it's done, right?
Got it. Okay. And like I said, for anyone watching who's give him a rundown of who Brian Ruckley is.
Yeah. Brian Ruckley is a comic book author who wrote IDW's most recent Transformers ongoing, the one that started in 2019, and it's a really good comic and is one that I just generally recommend if you want to read a Transformers comic. It's about Cybertron before the war and about how the war first got started, and he puts a lot of work into making it work as like, yeah, oh yeah. Well, he didn't write Shattered Glass, but yeah, yeah. But he puts a lot of work into building it up like a living, breathing like world full of people, and we see how it kind of teeters into war. It's ended now because IDW lost the license, but he was at it for like 3 years, so he had time to tell this like large, complicated story.
Nice.
The first volume, I'm going to pull it out over here. It's going to be really easy to read because they're collecting it as a series of hardcovers, like just from the get go, and like you're not going to have to worry about like where the mini series is and specials and whatever fit in because they're just compiling them all in reading order.
Mhm.
First volume's called "The World in Your Eyes." It's like the first 12 issues. I think there's going to be 5 or 6 volumes when it's done. So, just as hardcovers like this.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, it's one of the better fictional works out there if you want to do some like reading about the robots,
I wish that they would do like a mini bus of the old Transformers comics, the original one.
Mm-hmm.
Where you get, you buy one hardcover and it's got like 1 through 20, and then
Oh,
the second one, 21 through 40.
yeah, they've done those before. IDW's Transformers Classics. I have the first volume over here of that actually. I mean, it's not a hardcover. It's a soft cover, but it's like a really thick one because it's got a large chunk of the run. I think there were like 7 or 8 of these total. Yeah, here's the first one. These were notable because they did have like everything in them, including like the issues with Spider-Man and stuff that sometimes can't get reprinted because of rights. But yeah, these are
What's that
complete. I
called?
think Transformers Classics. It's hard to search, but these were done by IDW. So like they're a Marvel compilation, but IDW printed these. So they're the ones with the black covers.
Interesting.
And yeah, they collected like the whole Marvel run. So it's all in here. Yeah, my only complaint about these was they stuck Headmasters and the movie adaptation in the final volume instead of like much earlier when they happened. It was a very
Uh,
weird choice.
okay.
But yeah, they got the full Marvel run in those. So
So, Professor D on yeah, on YouTube. Yeah, you're just about to look at it. Bots for babies, Cyberverse for
Cyberverse.
kids, Generations for tweens and everybody else. But Masterpiece is for big boys only.
Yeah, I'm I'm trying to solve this guy. Um, uh, like like his hood's not really supposed to pop off. I popped it off to get at these doors. His head is supposed to come off because the cliff jumper version has alternate faces. I left it off so I wouldn't have to maneuver it around things. Like I'm struggling here, just quietly struggling. Um,
Yeah, D,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to those two. Professor D, I don't know, I can't tell what he's from there, where he's viewing from. Uh, he said, "Great deal, Bill. I love the original Omnibots. I'm looking forward to the upcoming XTB versions, which will be the first masterpiece renditions." Yes, I want them as well.
oh yeah,
As far as I know, this will be the only printings of them.
yeah. Third party stuff generally only gets like one run unless it's ludicrously popular. Yeah, I remember those. That's the first time that they have ever gotten any sort of like third party love. Oh, we just got a wave of rain through my windows. That's why I reacted like that.
Oh, we're getting a full week of rain this coming up week. It's going to be a nightmare at work.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian Ruckley's stuff didn't really present the Transformers as having separate races, unfortunately. So that's a theory that doesn't happen in his universe. If anything, it makes people, because people in that universe come out of Cybertron's core without the ability to transform, and then they choose their alternate form after a period of like trying out. Like a mentor will take them around the planet and show them all the different things they'll be, and then once they reach a certain age, they pick their alternate form. So it's like the complete opposite in that universe of the theory you're describing. But you
That's
know,
kind of cool. That's kind of
yeah,
cool, though. So if you wanted to be in the military, you could go and get reformatted to where you're a Tetra.
yeah. Like the initial setup, like on the cover of the hardcover, it's about Bumblebee, like basically being a mentor for a newborn. You see his Cybertron mode on the back there because he changes into it in this. Rubble is the name of the character, and he's literally just been born, and Bumblebee's his mentor. So like the initial arc to like introduce us to the planet and the characters is him taking Rubble around and like him meeting like Wheeljack and like other people and being like, these are all the things you can possibly turn into if you want to. Eventually, you're gonna pick. Yeah, it's a
All right,
great.
cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's a great way to like
So,
on board with that
so
universe.
we're triple changers, guys that couldn't make up their damn mind.
I wonder. I don't remember how they explained triple changers. I think it was just like some people can just do that.
It's like
But
being double
like
jointed or something.
yeah, like being double jointed. It's like how they. It's like well, they never bothered explaining triple changers in Generation One. Some people were just triple changers for like no reason.
And then what? Six shot is a glitch.
Yeah,
He couldn't make up his mind, and he went and hit all five of them.
he's like, yeah, I choose everything. Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Do you want to be a jet? Do you want to be a truck? Do you want to be a tiger? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
all
a
of
like.
that.
He's a weird anomaly. As far as I know, there's been two explanations for him in the Japanese continuity in Headmasters and such. He's a member of a clan of ninjas called the Six Clan, and they've studied transformation, and it's treated as like a ninja technique that he now has so many modes. It could be quite silly at times. And in IDW, not the new one, the previous continuity, he was an experiment by Shockwave to try and like make a new kind of Transformer. So that's why he had so many modes.
Well,
But
gents,
yeah, he's always.
I'm looking at my battery level here, and I have not got a charger that I can charge inside the house with.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to sign off early because I've got to go out and put this in my truck to charge it up before I go to bed.
Oh, okay. Best of luck.
So
thank you for joining us.
You all have a good one. D, Peace, brother. And I will catch you all next week.
Same time, same channel.
I'll be here. See y'all.
All right. All right. Yeah, so IDW2, the opposite of different species. Everybody starts out the same and picks a different direction to travel in. IDW1, meanwhile, people were born with specific alternate modes, and like one of the reasons that the very Magneto-esque Megatron in that universe first decides a revolution is because at the time there's like a class strata on Cybertron called functionism, where what you change into determines your like level in society, and he's like, that's not right, I have to smash the system. And then then he loses his way along the way, and decides I have to be in control of the planet, and the typical war breaks out. Yeah. And curiously, the same thing happens in Shattered Glass, but Megatron doesn't turn evil because he's a good guy in that universe. Oh, Professor D says on YouTube, I just opened 3 leader class figures. Double Dealer looked awesome in his plastic prison, but he came out a disappointing floppy mess with short legs. Galvatron feels nice and hefty, but a bit too kibbly and also has short leg syndrome. Nice joints and sculpt. Both are small for 50 US bucks. But Grimlock is a 10 out of 10. Oh, he's the one out of the... Yeah. I heard Double Dealer wasn't great. Never got him. I just picked up Galvatron at TFCon finally, belatedly. I got him for like a bargain. Like it was below retail because it was the Kingdom version, but the shoulders were fixed. And I'm like, yeah, he's surprisingly hefty for a leader. I haven't messed with him too much, so I don't have that strong of an opinion yet, but I like him. Grimlock I don't have. I gotta tell you this. This is the kind of fiance that I have. First of all, I was going to sell Beast Wars Grimlock, who changes into a raptor at TFCon, and Jess comes around and is like, no, you're not selling that. He's a raptor and he's Grimlock. We got to keep him. So I didn't sell him. Yeah. But so the other day she comes in and is like, hey, Anthony, do you have all of the Dinobots? And I was like, no, I don't. And she's like, you should get all the Dinobots. So I might start going in on those Studio Series guys, Sludge the Brontosaurus is going to come out, and that's my favorite dinosaur, so that'd be my first one. Then I guess I'll go back and find Slug and Grimlock and slowly get those.
Oh, why not? Stay tuned.
Yeah, like, when you have a partner who not only like supports your habit, but is like, hey, I think you should get more, and I think you should get these ones because I think they're really cool. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'll probably go back and get that leader Grimlock that you gave a 10 out of 10 to eventually. I heard he was really good. I heard he's basically the masterpiece guy, but like a little bit smaller, but also a little bit more refined because of the time the time in between the masterpiece coming out and now. Oh, okay. And By the way, as to that terrible wheelie figure that he comes with, they did unveil a new wheelie. They're making a studio series, a proper studio series wheelie. Maybe I can find a picture of him. Because you remember, he came with Studio Series Grimlock came with that weird wheelie that was stuck kneeling, and the slug that you picked up came with that weird Daniel with his bent knees, and they eventually just did an exosuit guy.
Yeah, what is there having like just these funny, weird little
Yeah.
odd plastic add-ons?
Yeah. So Sludge doesn't come with anybody. They didn't do that for him. You know how I said they'll do those like Instagram live things where the designers just talk about stuff.
Yes.
They said that the reason that I'll get to that comment in a second. The reason they included those guys was they weren't sure at that point while they were making them if they were going to get a chance to do these little core class guys or not. So they made those little minifigures that came with the Dinobots just in case.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the actual Studio Series Willie they're doing. He's a core class guy. And yeah, it's just he comes with a slingshot. He transforms properly. He can pose. I don't know why the person that took photos didn't pose him at all, but he has joints. He has all the proper joints.
Well, because they're not they don't understand Transformers as Mr. Farrah Courage does. Whereas when you take a review, you're taking pictures of every angle, every articulation, and writing them very well.
Yeah. Where's the picture of him standing on one foot and kicking? Yeah. And Professor D says, Jess is smart. The Studio Series dinos are on point. I only have Grimlock. Spin has the other one out. If I get Sludge, the third one, then each of us will just have one of them.
That'd be cool. Just convince each person to like just have one of the Dinobots.
Yeah. Eventually they're going to do Snarl and Swoop. We'll get Orlotti to get one of them, and I don't. Yeah. Just ask him whether he likes Snarl or Swoop better. But if you want to see the best Dinobots ever made, says Professor D, commenting from YouTube, pull up pics of the MP Giga Power weathered repaints. So let's see if I can find those. I know which ones he means. I even saw them at TFCon.
Yeah, like those. Like seeing them in person, like wow, okay, those are Dinobots.
Gigapower Dinobots weathered. Google knows. Once these images load. Or maybe they just won't.
No, not when you need them to load. Just like this week, my cameras decided to take a vacation.
Yeah. I guess that's their version of Snarl.
Ooh, okay.
Compared to the original, like it's that's what these are, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's another one of him over on. No, that's just the Chrome Swoop. Like I know about the Giga Power guys. They've been around for a while. I believe they've done Generation 2 repaints also. I honestly, I'm not a big fan of the weathered look. And those are the chromed ones. So I guess the only weathered one that I've seen so far is Snarl. Yeah, like there's a weathered Snarl.
Funny, I could see myself being a fan of both because it's you've got the quote unquote clean cut classic look of the Dinobots, but then you've got the look where it's like they've just come out of battle and and as usual, like they always win their battles, but they're worn out from the battle.
Yeah, these are very marvelly looking Dinobots.
Yes.
See if they have a picture of his alternate form. Yeah, there we go. Here they are. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
I do like what they did with his like spines there, with all the deliberate discoloration all across them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good look.
Yeah, that is a good look.
Yeah, I'm not even like this stuff isn't for me, but I do respect it because I do think it does look nice, and I can see where the humongous price tag is going.
Right.
I wonder if they've done ones that aren't just Snarl. This is just because I just looked up general Dinobots. D would know. He's the expert. Have they done other guys? I saw a swoop up here, but it didn't lead me anywhere special.
Well, Professor D does say that Giga Power has not done G2 yet, but Fans Toys has. The FT Blue Grimlock looks amazing.
Yeah, you know what? I bet that's the one I saw because I saw him years ago at like conventions and stuff. The blue version of Masterpiece scaled Grimlock. So I was probably thinking of the Fans Toys guy.
Okay.
And I don't know why they haven't done one officially, because that's his color scheme in Generation 2. There's been a Masterpiece Grimlock, there's been a Studio Series Grimlock, there's the Power of the Primes ones. Nobody ever did him in blue. I'm a mark for G2 stuff. You'd be selling them to me, you know?
I mean, there's people out there that would want it.
Yeah, I'm people.
Yes. Speaking of people, what happened to Bill?
He said he had to. Oh, you weren't here.
Yes.
He had to leave for the night because his phone was dead and he needed to leave it in his car to charge.
Ah, okay.
So he did bid us goodbye. Pull up a comparison of Fans Toys Dinobots versus Giga Power Dinobots. Go character by character if you and vote if you like Fans Toys or oh my god, that's a whole ass evening of stuff. Okay,
homework.
Yeah. Let me just get rid of every window I have on this thing first of all.
Well, while you're doing that, I will say, a good evening to Bill, and thank you for joining us once again.
Fans Toys versus Giga Power Dinobots. Well, somebody did a YouTube video right there. See what other images I can find. Is that to scale?
So you are working, doing something.
Open image in new tab. There we go. I just want to look at a picture of it. Whoa. Let's zoom out there a little bit. Which are which, though? I can't tell at a glance. I mean, I can tell they're not the same, but like they don't look terribly different from here. This image doesn't really illuminate which one is which to me. See if I can find a different. Oh yeah, Fans Toys FT05 Soar versus Giga Power God Enter. Okay, so this is a direct comparison. I mean, in this case, these are pretty similar looking to me, honestly. Like, one's bigger and the details are a little bit different. I'm going to say I think I like the Fans Toys swoop better in this image just because I like what's going on with his head a bit more. If I was going to compare just based on this very, very limited selection of...
Yeah, the two just look very similar, like just one's a bit bigger than the other.
Yeah.
But Professor D on YouTube says top of image was Giga Power.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's something to be said for the fact that um, that Grimlock and Slag there. If you told me those were the Studio Series guys with a couple extra accessories, I'd believe you because that looks like what I remember them looking like. Whereas
Yeah,
these guys look a bit different from the Studio Series ones.
yeah, he does look exactly like almost exactly like the Studio Series. But I could see in it, yeah, in terms of the Giga Power, which is on the top, um, it's like their chests and their arms do look a bit beefier.
Yeah,
Um, and the swoop is, I guess, more chromed out.
yeah.
Although I'm guessing that's just kind of how they took the image. Um, but yeah, they do seem a bit bulkier than within the bottom row.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Just like again, just on silhouettes, I do like the fans toys ones on the bottom better. Like yeah, they're lankier, but I think that's a better look for them. Even if they are like bruisers, they're a lot more like distinct.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that Grimlock's wings are more visible. I like the longer tail bits on Snarl. I like how Swoop is a bit svelter in the fans toys variety. Yeah. I think just based on this picture, I kind of like the bottom ones more.
Interesting.
Yeah. Uh, let's see if I can find like fans toys Sever versus Gigapow or Gutter.
Guitar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Close up. I will say I do like the face on the Giga Power one better than the Fans Toys one. The Fans Toys one looks a bit weird. It's got kind of a weird kind of expression and mouth going on, whereas the
But it's funny. Then, kind of close up, I'm more on the fans toys than the Giga Power.
yeah, I almost I'm looking at that snarl and once again on the left, I'm like, I bet you the Studio Series one will look exactly like that.
Yes.
Like I feel like I can already picture it.
Let's see.
So I mean, if the
On,
goal is accuracy,
on D says Giga Power is bigger, more detailed, bulkier, and more chrome. Fans
Mhm.
toys is more. I'm not sure what that word is, but more
uh,
tune.
open
Giga Power
image.
maybe more IDW, more of a mature take.
Uh, Giga Power is bigger. Fans toys more svelte, more tuned. Giga Power maybe more IDW, more of a mature take. Yeah, and I mean, if you're doing masterpiece, I think about cartoon accuracy. So like, I am drawn to the tune accurate stuff.
Hmm.
This is a good one because this is alternate modes for Grimlock, and I'm like, once again, I'm hard pressed to see much of a difference here. They're both really recognizably like. I'm not even going to take the eyes into account because the actual masterpiece can switch eye colors, so I'm just going to assume these guys can too.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the masterpiece Grimlock, the Hasbro Takara one. Yeah, you can switch the colors in his eyes between red and blue just by flipping, like opening his head and flipping them around really quickly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, those look like basically the same. I mean, the details on the legs are a bit different. Like I can't even call that. I would call that a tie, honestly. Like
Let's
they're
see. Yeah, yeah. You know what? It almost depends on the angle and in terms of of how the image is taken. Because I mean, at first glance, I would say, well, I like Giga Power's tail better. Like it just seems like a thicker tail, but that's only because the fans' toys, like the tail, kind of the angle they took the picture at is like you don't see the tail as much, where they're probably not that different.
mhm. Yeah, and then like their heads are basically the same. Like I Super Raider's head is a little bit skinnier, maybe, but it's not a huge difference. Their
Hmm.
bodies are like nigh identical.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't. I call this one a draw based on similarity.
What was that?
Yeah.
Professor D says Giga Power Dino head of Grimlock is more tuned, that of Fans Toys. That is one exception. Both are freaking awesome figures, among the best Transformers ever made.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there was more of a mandate for the other Dinobots because the actual Masterpiece Grimlock already existed and was sort of like a solved thing. So I guess with these guys, the question to me, as some, I own Masterpiece Grimlock. He's just up on my top shelf over there, and I'm like, okay, so what do these guys do that the official release does not? Like, that would be what my question would be.
Right.
Like, the other guys, like, they haven't done any other Masterpiece dinos, so like those ones, I'm like, they just have to exist, and that's already what they offer, existence.
Not anything any different.
Yeah, if anything, like, I'd say their mandate would be to look like they belong next to the official Masterpiece Grimlock.
Wow.
Yeah, let's see if there's any other useful comparisons here. Nothing too immediately obvious. It's another one of Snarl there. Oh, a different looking face. Hey, yeah, I guess these would come with multiple ones. Again, I gotta give it to the Fans Toys one, the slightly smaller one there. I like his sleeker look.
Funny, he's a smaller one's giving me more of a sideswipe look than
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. He's got between the horns on his head and the shape of the head and the chest.
Yeah,
It's like there's a
sideswipe remold.
Yeah, something I discovered while I was looking into rescue bots there for my nephew. They did like a whole series of them that were like rescans where everybody scanned dinosaur alternate mode. So they had like an Optimus that changed into a T-Rex, a Bumblebee that changed into something. So I'm like, this looks like a sideswipe that scanned a Stegosaurus alternate mode.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, regardless, I like maybe the new ones handle better because like I've had the two Fans toys that I have messed around with. I did not like how they felt at all. So that's something that you can't get from visuals. So maybe the Giga Power ones handle better, and that if so, that would count for a lot in my books on top of the visuals.
Okay. Is that the answer to what Dee said here?
Oh, what do you say? I gotta see. I only got one window on my laptop, so whenever I'm like studying images, I like can't see what's on the screen over here.
Okay.
Anthony, when you handle them, both of these make the official MP feel like Cyberverse. Yeah, see, that's something I can see. That's something I try to get across whenever I'm writing reviews, because I'm like, how these things feel is important because you can't really convey that from pictures.
Right.
So I'm gonna say the two Fans Toys guys that I've messed around with in the past were Sovereign, which is their take on Galvatron, and of course Hoodlum, which was their take on Hot Rod. In both cases, I just did not care for either of those figures. They looked lovely, but they were just impossible to transform. They had this weird creaky hand feel to them. Just great looking, but weird and not very fun feeling. Now, Professor D saying, I like both, but side by side, the Giga Powers do it for me. I want the Dinobots to tower over the Autobots and look like they have bodybuilder physiques as opposed to normal Autobot humanoid proportions. Yeah, that's valid. It's not what I'm necessarily looking for, but if that's what you're after, then yeah, those do seem to provide that. They got crazy bodybuilding proportions, and they're at a larger scale. Yeah. Do the Dinobots qualify as their own species? Bringing it back to Bill's topic yet again. I mean, I think so, because even on the cartoon, they were born on Earth, much like the guys in Earthspark. So, yeah, I think the Dinobots are their own race or species or whatever.
Yeah, I would put them under their own race and species as well. Although I would agree with D on that point of them having the bodybuilder physiques, because I mean they're whole original intention was to, be these bigger robots that the Autobots could run behind in terms of danger, and they could take on Devastator. So it's like, you need, like, they need that body, they need that physique to fulfill that, to fulfill the idea of what the Dinobots are, as opposed to in the cartoon when they slowly just started scaling them down to same size comedic characters.
Yeah. Yeah. And funny, I don't think they qualify as a separate species in Marvel because they were just standard Transformers who happened to be awoken at a time period where there were only dinosaurs around, so they scanned those instead of alternate modes.
Right. Well, Professor D says, Hot Rod is repeatedly among the worst Fan Toys figures. One of the Transformers I decided to skip.
Yeah. Oh, that broke my heart because it's such a lovely looking figure. It like completely, yeah. Dinosaurs compromise many species, hence Dinobots. Same. Yeah. Yeah. That Hot Rod, I wanted to like it so much because it looked lovely and it came with all the necessary stuff. But I transformed it like 3 times maybe in the entire time I owned it. And it took me like 45 minutes each time.
Wow. Okay.
And stuff just like did not want to fit together, and I was so like not great. And but now I got the Studio Series one, which like does everything I wanted the Fans Toys one to do, even if it is like smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy. I'd like to see some company take the Studio Series one and upscale it to masterpiece size. That would probably do it about right.
Well, I bet it's probably happening.
Yeah. Speaking of difficult masterpiece guys, I'm still struggling with. Oh, there we go. Jesus, I've been struggling to get the front of this hubcap to like peg together. It just like was not doing it. I only just got it now. I had to because this guy came out of the package with a loose ankle, but it was fine because I could see that it was a screw that needed tightening, so I tightened it. The front tab on this guy is like way too thick, and I had to do some fancy stuff to get it in place. I might take some sandpaper and shave it down so I can like fit that together easier.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll learn this guy eventually, but I've just been over here like just trying to get everything to fit together and having quite the time trying to pull it off.
Well, they should have consulted you in terms of the toy design.
Yeah, as the number one hubcap guy, I feel like I have strong opinions on this.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to get the bottom half to tab together here too. All right, I'm gonna try and tack the roof back on him. See if I can get that to work. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized I gotta undo some of this transformation to get the roof back on because it goes like under there. Oh boy, this is a journey. Just see if I can get that in.
Well, I have to step away again for 1 minute, so I'm going to let the viewers
watch my struggles.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, D, while you're in the comments, do you have any version of this? This is the cliff jumper tooling that Ocular Max, aka Mastermind Creations, did. It was called Hellion when he was cliff jumper. I already looked this up. And if so, can you get him to fit together? Because I'm trying here. I'm trying, and it's okay. There we go. Just trying to get everything to peg together is just a gigantic pain in the ass. I finally got the front together, but trying to get the doors and the hood in place is something else entirely. I'll be the first to admit I got this guy like blind, like sight unseen, no reviews, just because it was a version of hubcap, and I'm like, hey, I like hubcap. I would like a hubcap. I probably should have looked it up, seen if there were issues with it or anything. So maybe that aspect of it is on me a little bit. But also, like I have a couple of the other third party things I have are like Ocular Max guys. I let me see if I can get my shelf in view over there. I got their Mirage, or their RC, and their Ravage, or rather the fancy repaints of them they did as TFCon exclusives. And like, I had fun with all three of those guys. So I just kind of, on reputation, figured this would be easier to figure out. Not that those guys were simple, but I could at least get them to properly tab together. Okay. Try and get his these panels down here into place. Maybe I need to do that. Open his doors a little bit. Yeah, he does have opening doors. He's got that going for him, which is nice. I'm like, so far, comparing this guy to the Generations guy, he has two things that are going for him, and that's articulated hands and doors that can open. Everything else, the Generations guy is like already winning in my book, just because he's like easier to transform, and has a cool deconstructible cannon instead of like a static accessory. Call me liking the toys for babies, if you will, but I stand by what I think about that. But also, I know people who have described themselves as engineering freaks who are there specifically for the ludicrously complicated transformations. So that's a valid viewpoint to have too. Just all right. I think I almost got this. That was a good snap there. Got to remember to keep this on camera. See if I can get these doors into place. They are, again, not as even as I'd like. There's some seams here. Yeah, I guess there's some clever. There's seats inside of him too, made out of parts of his robot arm, which is like kind of a neat thing. All right. Ooh, thunder. I think I almost got him. Almost. Come on. See, this is the thing. The doubt sets in. You're like, is there something 12 steps back that I could have lined up better to like make this less of a struggle? That's always the question. Like, I feel like I want to solve this guy like I have with some other difficult Transformers. So, like, get it back and forth a few times, learn its quirks. Yeah. All right, I think this is about as good as I'm going to be able to get it. So there's his vehicle mode. There's still kind of some nasty seams around here and here and like up front. I would much rather these things fit together better. But maybe there's some more. Maybe there's some specific tricks I can pull to make them fit together better. And if I wanted to, I can tack on his cliff jumper skis and exchange part of his hood for like a little cannon. Yeah, these are a good bit of engineering, actually, because they just clip right onto his wheels. No fuss. Yeah, he has everything that I guess came with the Ocular Max cliff jumper. Though I would have settled for less accessories and a lower price because it's hubcap. He didn't appear in anything. You can. Oh, hey. It's the I'm Tired Con. The viewers were watching me struggle with this Ocular Max hubcap to try and get him into his car mode. He's still not completely there. Look at these seams.
Holy! I thought I was tired.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, not bad. Bill was here. Spins temporarily stepped away for a second. So I was just like, "Hey, everybody, watch me struggle."
There you go.
Yeah,
Talk
we
about
were just.
struggles. Oh man, what a trip coming back from Quebec.
Oh yeah, you didn't. Can you speak French now?
Mais non.
Pamplemousse.
Yeah, beaver tail.
Yeah.
What's it called? Yeah, no. Yeah. So far, you folks, if you see me a little out of it, whatever case is, it's because I'm recouping from my trip for a week in Quebec. In Quebec, we went to the provincial of Quebec. Sorry, we went to Quebec City. Then we went to Montreal. Then we went to Ottawa, and then we came down to Kingston, and then from there, I think Port Hope and some other places as well too, right? Just to have a bit of a vacation with the family.
That sounds fun. Yeah, I was
It
saying
was.
earlier. I was saying earlier on the stream, I'm going to be gone late August. I'm taking a trip to Portugal.
Oh, you're going to Portugal.
Yeah, just because one of our friends, his family's out there. He's getting married there.
Oh, nice.
It's a destination wedding. Delayed for like 2 years. Finally going ahead with it. Yeah, so that's going to be fun.
Okay,
So
1 second.
I-
Hold on.
I-
Okay, good night.
I want to say hi.
Okay, say hi and then good night.
It's the next generation. Hello.
There you go. She's gonna be on Bumblebee Part 2.
Mhm.
No,
Let me involve them, Daddy.
Okay. Yeah, no, Portugal is really nice. It's beautiful country. Are you going on the islands or are you in the mainland?
I don't know. I'll admit I'm just gonna kind of show up and like follow my friends around. They got it all figured out.
Oh, you're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, we're gonna be there for like a week and a half. They got an itinerary. It's a lot of fancy places we're gonna be able to go. A lot of ruins, like a lot of like a big fancy library, like a couple of beaches. I don't know. It's gonna be fun, and of course it's gonna be a wedding. So
Soak it all in. Soak
Yeah.
in the sun. Soak in the culture. Soak in the matouth that you're gonna be drinking at the wedding.
yeah,
Soak everything you can possibly because it's. Have you ever been outside of Canada before?
yeah. Well, not counting the U.S. even. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. I went to Italy with my family about a decade ago, I think.
Okay, so you can experience the European life, right? It's such
Yeah.
over there. It's all about they work to live versus live to work,
Yeah.
right?
I know what you're talking about. I have a memory from my trip to Italy, which I guess we're talking about that right now, but
Yeah.
sure. Where we were on a train and the train stopped, and we were like, "What's going on? Is there a problem?" We realized that the driver had stopped to take a cigarette break. That's the only reason the train stopped.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I'm not promoting smoking, but just the fact
Yeah,
that
yeah, me neither.
people can just take a break, right?
Yeah.
Here it's like, hey, what are you doing? Taking a break. Are you finished? No. Well, get back to work. All right. So speaking of the taskmaster, the spin.
There we go. Yeah.
Who has
Mr.
returned?
Camera working in the last few minutes of the stream. This guy.
Well, at least now we all get to see you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't want to take off too much of the topic from Transformer because this is what the show is all about. It's about Transformer. It's not about. Well, you know what? Screw it. It's called Freestyle Frenzy Sunday, so we can talk about anything, and we can actually make it relatable to Transformers because we can do that. That's what the show's all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get these last few comments?
No, because I just kind of jumped on about maybe 3 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Work on lining. Oh yeah, Professor D. Oh yeah, because he was watching me struggle with this this guy here, Ocular Max Grifter. He says, work on lining it up before you try sanding down any tabs. I don't have that mold, but MMC should line up fine without any modifications. Yeah, I did manage to get it eventually. I had to undo it to get his cliff jumper skis on, but I just kind of like the legs like telescope up. So I just like put this one in place and telescope this one down over it to like get the tab in. Because it's one of those ones that like hooks over it and like it's way too big to just like snap in place. if any of what I said makes any sense.
It's making sense.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, why did I undo this? Now I just whoa, there goes a part.
Hey, if you break it, you buy it.
I already
Says,
bought it.
tip
Well,
for learning to transform MPs: consider your first transformation to vehicle mode as a test run. Don't
Yeah.
try to force those panels in at the end. Go back to bot mode and start again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I said. I was like, I bet there's something 12 steps back that I could have lined up better.
And Dion Facebook also says, focusing on lining up everything right once, you have a better sense of where you're going.
Yeah. This is my second transformation to car mode, honestly.
well, speaking
Yeah, there we
of
go.
everything, lining up right, finding where you're going. And speaking of, if you break it, you buy it. I don't know if you guys mentioned this already, but there's this classify site called Children of Primus
Yes.
that you can sell are all your used transformer or even brand new transformers. It could be MP, it could be third party, it could be whatever party you want to attend. It could be comic books, it could be DVDs, it could be video games, it could be statues, it could be a picture of me. Whatever you want, it's up to you. Whatever pleases you. Okay? But you can post that free on childrenofprimus.com classified. Well, it's not /classified, but it's childrenofprimus.com. Go to our classified section and you can post anything there for free. Transformer related, anything there for free.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure if you just Google Children of Primus, we're like one of the top hits now. So, if not
There
the
you go.
top hit.
Number one, baby.
Yeah. Somebody really needs to sell a picture of you on there now that you've put that out into the world.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a better way to get these skis.
You didn't
to
see
stay
that.
out.
You didn't see that after that. I gave a really nice 5-second pose.
Did you do the blue steel?
Yeah, I did the blue steel with the rock eyebrow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what's called and someone could have just control. What's that button to screenshot?
I don't know. I just use the app.
Yeah, so
Shift print screen.
there you go. And then all you have to do is put my face on a t-shirt, and there you go, people. You can sell that on childrenofprimus.com.
So what I was trying to do here was put because he's a cliff jumper retool. He's got cliff jumper's water skis from that one episode, same as the Generation Selects one. So water skis and little optional laser on front of them. Still can't get the doors to line up. That's the big problem. But I'll give them a try later. Like the professor said,
for a minute.
I need to study. I wouldn't do this for just anybody. It's just because it's hubcap.
So we had, if I caught this correctly, so today's topic was about like species and specs or what?
Species and races. Mr. Magnus there had this theory that every set of transformers that are repaints of each other, like the Seekers or the Fairlady Zeds or the Lambos, are all different subspecies of transformers. And I brought up how sometimes it's been said that Ravage and Laserbeak are re-engineered Cybertronian wildlife. How in Beast Wars the Maximals and Predacons are treated like they're entirely different species and stuff like that. Just how does this stuff work?
That's interesting.
Like, are all the Seekers, with their wings and their similar designs, are these a subspecies unto themselves?
Well, I wouldn't call them subspecies. I think more like a category.
Yeah.
Of species of transformers. But if you go back, I don't know if you guys mentioned this, so I hope I'm not repeating any of your discussion. So let's just call it a recap, or it's maybe something you didn't talk about. Did you guys talk about the primes?
No, and you know what? You just made me remember about that.
Okay.
How in the aligned continuity, every animal former is descended from Onyx Prime directly.
Correct. So the 13 primes, every one of those prime had their, I guess, their own now you will say sub uh sub species of, or subline of them, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
right? So you had your combiners that came from one of the combiner prime, forgot his name. Then you also had the what's it called? Yeah, Solus Prime. Yeah, Solus Prime. So all the female bots basically came from her.
Yeah.
Then you had like all the beast-looking ones that came from. Crap, I forgot his Onyx Prime or something like that.
Yeah, that's the name of the beast guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I personally believe. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I personally believe that all those categories or all those different species came from all those 13 primes.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're descended from. There's our word that I was looking for. Descendants.
Descendants. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can't believe I forgot about that earlier. But yeah, that is a very, very obvious way of handling it. They each come from a different prime.
Well, yeah. If you look at, even Optimus Prime himself as vehicle mode, as a transportation vehicle, let's just say.
Mhm.
Forget about that. He's like a cab, right? All the car or transportation vehicles, must have came from him in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And so, and if you look at, you see, the only ones you see, like Alphatron, he never had a transformation figure, did he?
No, it's funny you should mention that. They just unveiled one at SDCC,
Okay.
a set with Orion Pax, but that figure's a retool of Scourge, so he has like Scourge's alternate mode. Let me see if I can find it here.
I see.
Well, Mike, are you saying that some of the, I guess, truck style Autobots were derived from Optimus?
Could be, because if you think about it, Optimus Prime is the 13th Prime, and if you look at what I was just saying before, in the Align canon, right? What's called all the primes had basically all like all the Transformers came from these certain primes, right? So all the what's called combiners came into that one. Sorry guys, it's been a long drive. Okay, so I can't remember all the primes' name, but like certain like for example, like all the beast transformer came from Onyx Prime. Let's just say it, right?
Right.
So he's so regardless if you're like a tiger or an ape or a dragon or whatever, a bat, you know what I mean?
They all derived from that one prime.
Yeah, correct. They all descended from them, right?
Okay.
And so what I personally believe is, Bill, I think Bill did get it right in the sense of, there's different. I hate saying species, but different categories of different of the Transformers, right? Because they're all the same. It's like us. We're all human beings. You have white, you have black, you have Asians, you have whatever, right? We're all human beings, but is that we just have different categories or different descriptions, you could say, right? We're all one race, but in the Transformer, continuity in a sense, I think they did it right when they explained that particular part in that particular story line, saying that all the Transformers, all the different kind of Transformers came, or they're like the descendants of these primes, of the 13 primes. Does that make sense? Sorry if I sound a little scattered. Like I said, I came from a long drive, and this is like my 20th cup of coffee here. So.
Oh boy, it makes sense though.
It makes sense. I mean, another word you could have used, ethnicities, in terms of the different styles. But I see you're going from the 13 prime timeline, because then I'm thinking of like the G1 timeline where the truck style Autobots existed before Optimus. that when he was still Orion. So then it wouldn't have been based off of him. But then going with the 13 Prime storyline, then I understand it.
Yeah, so because you get so the way I looked at it, okay, yeah, transportation vehicles in a sense of land and air, right?
Mhm.
So you got to look at which of the primes were, mainly air or mainly land. So then you can see their descendants or their relatives, right, or their bloodline, whatever you want to call it, right?
Mhm.
And so going back to what Bill was saying, because I know we talked about this in previous shows or we touched upon it, right? I do believe he's correct saying that that every transformer has their own categories, and if you look at some, how do you say, if we actually go, we talked about this in a previous show as well too. There's a few ways how transformers were being made or being born, right? So recently we have the Allspark. Am I correct to say that? Okay. But before that, it was done by what? Osmosis. Osmosis, or what's that word again? The cell separation.
I brought that up earlier. I know what you mean. I forget what it's called. Mitosis, I think.
Mitosis, that's it, right? And so, we had a lot of transformers being born like that, right? And if you look at some of the transformers, they talk about the purity in a sense of the less mitosis, meaning they're closer more to the prime to that they're descended from, right? So they haven't. It's not like a copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Like when you do an image, and after a while that image becomes pixel,
Mhm.
right? And so if you look at it, if you can look at it that term, that's why you find different transformers that if you look at their skills, their strengths, or their even their intelligence, going back to specs. So I think the more mitoses that are happening, the less their specs get like lower and lower and lower, going through the like that copy and paste, or like that image, when you copy and paste that image, it becomes more pixelated, right? That's just my theory.
Well, I mean that theory does play out in terms of genetics, where in terms of genetics where like a copy. I mean, you almost in a sense you have like your pure breeds as the parents, but then as you go down through the different generations of children, um, the genetics start to either lessen or or weaken depending on what the mix is.
Right. Well, I'm a perfect example in a sense. Um, my father, in a sense, when you come to ethno, like we were mentioning before, is Italian. My mother, originally, Spanish from South America. Then you got me, which born in Canada, but in a sense of ethnicity, Spanish and
Mhm.
Italian. And then now I married someone that their background or their roots is Greek. And then right there you have, now you look at my kids. Now if you look at their roots, you got Italian, Spanish, Greek. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it just keeps on getting mix and mix and mix and mix, right? So um, Professor D, what's called flesh-based life form bloodline equals cybernetic life form technology lineage. So considered.
I call it spark line myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just thinking about something I remembered. Like, there's many different ways Transformers can have propagated. In the original, in the pre-reboot IDW stuff,
Mhm.
they were born from places called hotspots, and they would be fields that would appear in different places all over Cybertron that would just flare up, and a bunch of sparks would be there. So, like, people could be from a particular hotspot, and sometimes particular traits would come out of those.
That almost sounds more like a horror movie type of scenario. Like just field of just appears, and then like just these creatures grow in the field and suddenly appear, and like that's a bit spooky.
It's almost like the Matrix if you think about it, right? Like you
Hmm.
have all those fields of humanoids that they start as like a little fetus and they grow up to be an adult, and it's like they're harvesting all their energy. That's what the machines were doing, right? So it almost sounds similar to that. So if you think of like those humanoids are like sparks,
Yeah.
and they're just feeding into the machine, right? Or being transformed into the machine, I guess.
Yeah. Here's I just pulled up a picture of a hotspot from IDW.
Okay.
Professor D saying PCs and Apple computers share technological lineage, but evolved competitively to become incompatible without necessary transformations. Hey, yeah, like I keep bringing up the Maximals and Predacons from Beast Wars, but that seems to be what happened there. At that point, in both the show and in the new IDW comics, they're regarded as like separate. They're not factions anymore. They're two separate cultures, and they regard themselves almost as different species. These are a Maximal is like this, a Predacon is like this. That enters into the narrative a lot. And, there's also the question of, like, are they right or are they being biased against each other? But, like, that's a part of it, too. But, like, in the Beast Wars time period, at least 3 centuries later, that's how they regard themselves, having turned into two separate, like, cultures.
I know, I found that weird because the whole purpose of them being spread out, in a sense, it came out of survivalism, right? So they had to shrink in order to maximize, no pun intended, their energy and to conserve energy or to use their energy or use less energy.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I say it's like an evolution, and we see that in human, you have the whole evolution, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's just another evolution from the original G1s, let's just say, or from it's an evolution from Unicron and Primus, and then Primus, into his what's called the 13 Primes, and then the 13 Primes, going into the Transformers that we see in G1, and then fast forward into to the Predacons and Maximals, right? So
yeah,
it's all evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, that evolution can take a branching path with the Maximals and the Predacons.
Well, then you look at the Cybertron, the Cybertron Empire.
Yeah, I was just talking about that too because I've only just gotten to Marvel Generation 2 in my comic book club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how they started budding and they regard themselves as having evolved beyond, the Maximals and Predacons. But also, like, the person that's saying this is G-Axis, and he's not he's a little bit he might just be a little bit full of himself as well when he's like, I've evolved beyond you guys. That's the impression I get actually reading the comics. But I'm not done them yet, so we'll see. But
well, we have to remember there's other. If you look at all the canon of Transformers, there are other planets out there, right? That have robots that can transform, and they all originated from Cybertron, right?
yeah.
And if you look at, and I'm going to throw it in there, GoBots. Right? Again, another species, I guess you could say that's part of that whole group of Transformers. So I don't want to go. I'm sure you guys had a big long conversation. I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there.
Well, we forgot about the primes, so you definitely contributed.
Yes.
Definition of biological species is ability of populations to propagate viable offspring. So if the Autobots and Decepticons can make viable Transformers together, they are one Cybertronian species. So, well, then you get into the fact that, like... there goes his good.
Children of Primus.com.
Yeah,
it was live.
My section.
You just clipped that. Yeah, then you go into the fact that they don't reproduce like a proper biological race would, however it is. So the question of whether they can propagate with each other is a bit of a moot one. Though they both have the same, at least by Beast Wars, spark protoforms, to to fully grown entities. It's the same for both species. So
Well,
you know
you
they
know
come.
what I think what we got to do one show then, I guess be better prepared and to really talk about it. It's how do Transformers do reproduce? Yes, we know about the Allspark. Yes, we know about mitosis, but I think we should, go really into it and really talk about it because now that we know we have female Autobots and Decepticons, can they also do the typical
Oh boy,
procreation that you just like kind of
we
alluded
gotta
to a certain degree there, Anthony? Right?
lay down some ground rules for that episode. Jesus.
No,
Well,
Jesus has nothing to do with it, but I'm just saying that. Well, then again, he could have been a prime himself, right? But the whole point is that, um, we really got to really talk about that because you can have. This could be like a really huge debate if you really think about it, right? You're gonna have like you're gonna have people say, no, it has to be this way, or no, it has to be that way. But the comic book said this, but the movie said that, but the writer said this, and whatever, right? So I think we should look at all aspects, right? That how transfer would be made. Because if you go back to what D said about Shockwave and Wheeljack, well, didn't Wheeljack and Ratchet created the Dinobots?
Yeah,
mhm.
I was gonna say. There is a large article on the Transformers Wiki that's just called Reproduction, and it discusses all the canonical ways that Transformers create more Transformers. So, like,
Interesting.
it's pretty long because it goes like continuity by continuity, and there's a lot of different ways, but like all the answers of what canonically exists is there.
Well, yeah. Well, you had Wheeljack and Ratchet creating the Dinobots, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Then you had, oh my goodness, I just went blank.
Vector
G.
segment.
Well, yeah, you had Victor Sema making what's called the aerial bots and the Decepticons.
Well, I
Then,
actually correct myself. He only gave them the personalities
no,
because
he
the
gave them
other
life.
Autobots built the aerial bots, just like Megatron and Decepticons built the Decepticons.
You're correct, but Victor Sema still gave them life because they were just only robots. Was nothing in it. It was just a shell, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then you had I'm losing my mind here. I'm going blank. The dudes was like the technicals and the five faces.
The Quintessons.
Thank you. You have the Quintessons in G1 creating Transformers as well too, right?
Mhm.
Well, robots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, are they are so again, you have all these various ways of making Transformers, right? So, are they different species as well too? The
I
ones that
mean,
are, the one that were just built?
Grimlock created the Technobots, which I think in one theory the Quintessons created the Horicons.
Yeah, Terracons. Yeah.
Terracons, yeah.
So, it's almost like a Murray show. Who's the father?
Oh gosh.
You know what I
As
mean?
he says, Jesus was definitely a prime. No two ways about it. I'm not touching the theological implications of that one.
Wow,
Boy.
let's just say he's the one above all. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But like it almost sounds like a Murray show, right? Like you are not the daddy or you are the father kind of thing, right? So that I think that's something that we should really talk about, and then see how that fits into this show or into this topic, right?
Oh boy, I will do scholarly research on that, and by that I mean read that article top to bottom and take notes.
Well, same here. I'm gonna do the same thing because you know what? I've always sat like when I'm doing my little Transformer research for the shows and stuff like that. That's one
Yeah.
of the things I've always thought about. Like, how did that happen? And then you fall in that TF wiki rabbit hole,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you start going, you're hitting this link, you're hitting that link, and you start hitting this, and you read about that and so forth, right? So it's fun, but it's also consuming too, right?
You know, you start putting all the pieces together in terms of the characters and the creation and development of those characters.
Definitely. Well, what was I gonna say? So, like, I saw a little bit of the show on Sunday. You guys were talking about, our time there at TFCon.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to add my 2 cents, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
And my 2 cents with this, I had fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a good time. It was really interesting to interview certain people. For sure, it was great interviewing the founder of the TFCon there.
Yeah.
Goober was, phenomenal at the end. Just grabbing people from out of nowhere and say, "Hey, come sit down, have a chat with us." Right? That was pretty cool too. Especially the guy that said, "Oh, I've never been on YouTube before."
And then immediately, like, knew how to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's that one cat there. There was a couple of them. The two people that were sitting behind us that had the booth right behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, they were pretty cool too, in a sense of, they decided, like, for the past couple of years, they decided to do the TFCon because they had like 20 years worth of collection.
Oh boy.
And that's almost a show in itself. Like,
Yeah, no kidding.
like, when do you, besides, putting your stuff on sale on Children of Primus.com classified, when do you purchase a table and start selling your what's called your Transformers? Is it 10 years, 20 years, 30 years?
It's when you have somebody to go, or somebody or multiple somebodies to go in on the table with you, so that it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. I like the fact that sorry, go ahead, Spin.
I was going to say, or you've gotten to that point where you realize you have quite an extensive collection, and it might be time to purge some of those characters to make room for either newer things or just or you've outgrown them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that was the same story of the other gentleman that was actually behind us, but outside.
Mm-hmm.
He was like from Kitchener.
Yes.
And that was his first. Okay, so it wasn't his first time at the convention, but it was his first time having a table. That's
Nice.
right, Pepperoni.
That's my other cat. That's Snook.
Oh, that's right, Snook.
Where is he? Hi. It's a loud man.
Yeah.
Get back and talk about Russian Ravage.
Yeah. That's the real Russian Ravage there. Yeah, I'm talking about you.
That's crazy. Yeah. So and then I think I think I could talk on Mike's behalf here, or Spin. Sorry. Putting up the banner. How cool was that?
Oh, very cool.
Like, we finally got a proper banner.
Mm-hmm.
The first day we're trying to put it up, I made the mistake. I forgot about the support in the middle, and which I should have known. And I thought about it, but I was so in a rush to get all that stuff. And the Italian side of me saying, "No, you got to do it like this," and the hurry up inside of me was saying, "We got to hurry up and go," right? And so I screwed up on there. And then, the funny part is when that banner kind of fell and took out some of the Transformers, the figures, everybody was like, "Oh my God, the figures!"
Yeah.
The funniest thing about it was all Armada toys, and somebody once said an Armada Transformer could survive a fall off the Empire State Building. So, like, these are some of the most durable robots in existence. So, Professor D said, "You guys behaved in a speciesist manner at the convention. You interviewed the Earthling escorting Unicron, but you did not interview Unicron himself."
No, he was on a nap. It was
Yeah,
his nap time.
I'm just imagining that he sounds like the drunk version of Orson Welles from all of his outtakes that you can find on YouTube.
Oh
There you
gosh. Yeah.
The French champagne has been celebrated for its excellence. It's great. You should look that up.
That is funny. But yeah, but finally getting that banner up, right? That we're able to see it. And that banner is pretty huge as well too. So I think that was personally, I think that was one of my personal proudest moment at the TFCon.
Mhm.
As Professor D says, forgetting the mid support of the banner, not masterpiece level engineering.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. That's why I said, the Italian side of me should have known better, and I did. But the hurry up side of me just, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. Right?
I do like the community spirit and the fact that like 10 people came over and were like, "You good?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Not even like organizers, just like random people. Whoa, boy!
Lightning storm.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like when the banner fell.
Yeah.
Yes. And the silence, right, like just for a few seconds afterwards.
Yeah, we got
I
it
know,
working.
but the funny, it was just the lack of, are you guys okay? No, the figures are all right?
Yeah.
And then, are you guys are okay? I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, we're good, right? But yeah, so the banner, I was really happy about the banner. So so next year when we're doing the show, obviously we will do it correctly with a banner.
Yeah. I will say the only other thing that I noticed I remember thinking this at the time, and in hindsight, it's obvious on the replays too. I will need to think of a way for us to all have headphones so we can all hear the whole stream,
Yeah.
because like it worked out, but like I'm like I couldn't hear Calvin's
Mm-hmm.
or just like.
Oh,
Some of us could
interviewers,
not
right?
hear other ones of us, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's because we didn't have headphones." But I wasn't even thinking about that until once we were up and running.
No, it was a boondockish setup, and I'm like, let me just visualize how to make it work, and that part worked. So now, so now we just have to add the icing to the cake.
Yeah, the icing is just everybody brings earbuds with them, wireless earbuds like these ones.
Well, you know what?
They're all good.
No, exactly. Like we got to get that remote, right? So all the headphones could connect to it.
Yeah,
and then
these ones can connect to my phone if I try. I know that I've done that before, so I'm like, there you go. That's that part. That's one set taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you have an Apple phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you couldn't put on your headphone, because remember I gave you those white headphones and they couldn't jack into your phone?
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan. It's one of those ones with the stupid like non-standard connections. So I just I can Bluetooth these in if I want to put in way too much effort. Wouldn't be too much effort if we're streaming, but in any other.
I would say that, yeah, the Bluetooth option would be the best, because with these ones, they pick up myself and like anything around me like perfectly clear. It's like I hear you guys perfectly. So it's like if I had brought them with me, I would have used these on Anthony's phone.
Yeah.
You know what? We put it this way: we MacGyver the crap out of that.
Oh yeah, I'm impressed. Yeah.
Even the camera, if you look at the camera on day one, it wasn't as clear as the camera on day two. Because I was able to get into my Cyberlink and fix Cyberlink to fix the image and everything.
Professor D says we know which G1 guys were black, which ones were Italian. Wheeljack, obviously.
Wheeljack.
Aside from his colors and his Lancia alt mode, he was like from Brooklyn. You could tell from Robot Brooklyn. Like you could tell by his accent.
And what about Dino?
Yeah, Dino from Dark of the Moon. So there's at least two Italians.
Well, I mean, we know, Outback was Australian. Let me see, other Italians though. What other Italians would have been a G1?
I
mean,
still think Cliff Jumper was Italian because he was hot-headed.
well, I mean, Rat Trap was probably Italian because he also had a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, he's
So-
no, he's definitely Italian too.
and he's this short man who's just full of rage. So
Not all Italian are short.
yeah,
They are full of rage, but they're not all short.
he's got big Danny DeVito energy sometimes. So that's, you know,
There you go. But yeah, no. So I'm thinking, hopefully, when we do another TF Con, we can have like a proper setup booth kind of thing, have a couple of cameras, and start interviewing properly. And that's going to be, since we got the banner now, so one step at a time. And speaking of all that, in that video we did mention that we need some support, right? And you know what? I watched a whole bunch of other shows that basically, they get their donations to help them to produce better shows. So, you know what? At first, I was like, I don't know if I want to do that because I don't like to beg or whatever case is. But you know what? At the end of the day, I still understand why they're doing it. Is to make sure that they are bringing better contact, better image, better equipment, better everything, so they can do better things for the viewers. So we do have a Patreon page. It's sorry, Spin, what it is again?
Patreon.childrenofprimus.com.
No, wait, isn't it patreon.com/Children of Primus?
Yeah, it will redirect you to that, but it's I do subdomain, so it's much easier. Just like youtube.childrenofprimus. So we have a patreon.childrenofprimus.com.
And then we're also working on a donation button on our website. And speaking about our website, we're going to be trying to reconfigure the website itself, make it a little bit more up to date and better looking and all that kind of stuff, and better to navigate. We're getting there, but we need help, obviously. So
big plans afoot.
Yeah, you know what? Like I've always said at the very beginning, you got 4 goofy guys that wanted to get together and talk about Transformers. We end up having 2 other co-hosts as well too coming on, which is Bill and Kevin from the States. So we have an American perspective, and they could talk about the stuff that are happening over there, which is fantastic. We also had other people jump on as well too. We want to continue to do that, but we need help, right? So if you guys can help us out, it could be $2, $5, $10, whatever you guys want. We're just asking for a little bit of help. That's all. So we can do things better.
So as Professor D said, which
oh God, I'm not even touching that one.
Yeah, I'm like that just goes down its own road. But the real reason Braun didn't like Perceptor is not because he was not a fighter. It's because Braun was anti-Semitic and Perceptor was Jewish.
What the hell?
That's
where did I think that trips me up is where did Perceptor is Jewish come from?
Oh, vague.
But I mean, it's in a sense, why not? I mean, it's a question: where did it come from? But why not just say, okay, Perceptor was Jewish, so was Braun hating on him because of that? For because of cultural reasons, and not just because he's not a fighter.
I don't know. Sometimes sometimes the thing is what it appears to be.
Well, and we'll go to another statement. Was Rat Trap Brooklyn Italian or Brooklyn Jewish? Coffee talk.
Yeah, good question. I assumed he was Brooklyn Italian. I think I remember seeing a thing like a vintage clip of Scott McNeil talking about how he created Rat Trap's voice, and I think he was thinking of like tough guys from Brooklyn. I don't know. I think he's Italian.
It's funny. I don't recall the Brooklyn Jewish references. I only know Brooklyn Italian references.
Yeah.
I had to put on my fake I froze moment there, so I didn't. That's why I
Yeah,
kind of avoided
I
that
was
other
in the corner of
question.
my eye and I wondered a little bit.
It's like he's
No, you see,
dodging it.
my sense of professionalism is that I'm like, I just file that in the back of my head and carry on and hope it fixes itself before it becomes obvious.
Why isn't D jumping on the show?
Oh, because he's throwing in controversial questions like this question to Anthony. Why are you skeptical that Perceptor was Jewish? Are you implying all Jewish folks need to talk a certain way?
Now you're just trying to catch.
Yep.
You're just trying to catch me. You're not
He's
gonna.
he's trying to rat trap you there.
Yeah,
Yep.
trying to rat trap me.
Yep, good luck.
Yeah, like this. This is immediately why I was like, I ain't touching that one.
Yep.
I abscond from this line of questioning. I abstain from this line of questioning.
Although funny enough, it's I mean it could if it's taken intelligently, it can be a fun topic to indulge. One thing that I have noticed the odd time is and I don't know if this was intentional or there's certain times when Peter Cullen was doing Optimus that he kind of had a black kind of swag to his speech, and I'm like, is that because Optimus was supposed to be American, or why did it come out that way, as opposed to like just sounding like Perceptor in a sense?
That's the first time I thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's only the odd time, just certain phrases, and I'm like, if I didn't know, if I didn't know who Peter Cullen was, I'd be like, well, Optimus must be voiced by a black actor, just in terms of a style of speech and how he delivered certain lines.
I wouldn't mind seeing clips of the lines you're referring to, because now I'm interested.
Well, there's one that was running in my head, and I know that for right now for sure I'm gonna forget which one it is. Yeah, I'll have to come back to it, but there's like 2 or 3 particular ones that like that's just an interesting way to have delivered that whatever the sentence was at that time.
But you know what? Here's the thing about being a kid growing up and watching all that. You never thought about any of that. What Dee's kind of bringing up, right? We just saw cool looking robots transforming, and they all had their distinct personality traits, right? And you enjoyed that because there weren't robots. I'm from Cybertron. I'm here to conquer you. No, stop! You cannot conquer these species. They have all the rights to live. That would have been boring, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that they brought all these different voices and had different traits that we can all relate to, as kids, it's like that's cool, man. That's really awesome. Obviously, as adults, now that we kind of we're supposed to have a little bit more knowledge and wisdom, right? We can analyze and look at why did they did that? Why did they use this particular character and have them sound like this, right? For example, like look at Jazz. Obviously he knew he was a black voiced character because and Blaster as well too. But I'm looking more at Jazz because look at the name itself, Jazz. And historically, which ethno played jazz music or created jazz music, right? And so that's that whole being an adult now and analyzing all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But as kids, man, that was awesome. For me, that was like, man, it had all these different characters. You had all these different kind of voices, all these different traits. You're like, that's so cool, right?
Yeah. Plus, there was also like the fact that these were not like humans made it much easier for people of vastly different like backgrounds to like see themselves in the characters.
Definitely,
that's correct.
Well, it does tie into the topic that we're talking about, like different species, right? But I look at it more at different ethnos, right? So it's good to have all these different types of all these characters because it just made the show so interesting. How many times you sat there and you looked at the show, you're like, I can relate to that,
Mhm.
in specific episodes, right? Um, I thought that I don't know. This is my own personal opinion. I just thought it was just cool. I don't know. Let's hear you guys' opinion.
Well, funny, and I wonder if it kind of ties in with what you just said, which I think maybe we should revisit this episode, this stream, because then I'm thinking in terms of like, say, you think of humans, and there's certain cultures that are, say, more known for like building and fixing and everything, and then you look at like grapple, grapple hoist, who else? Huffer, and a few others like Perceptor, and it's like, well, would they have fallen into that same? If they turned into humans, would they have fallen into that same um, ethnicity or culture of humans?
Mhm.
Yeah. So like, were their characters kind of designed to fit that role?
I think so. Well, you know what? Going back to the Italian side of it, you were just saying about the construction con and Animate.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Uh, Speaking of Italian,
You telling me that wasn't Mario Luigi there? Come on.
yeah. I'm gonna find a picture for reference.
Professor D says Optimus was black, but then also
Sure.
says that's why obviously that's why obviously Jesus also, who, as we have already established, was a prime. Oh, but then also says Grapple and Hoist were British. Who else was? Skylinks.
That I just pulled up a photo in my thing of the Transformers animated Constructicons, Scrapper and Mixmaster, who were like a couple of like
Oh wow!
salt of the earth, like crude, like construction worker guys, complete with the Brooklyn accents.
Hey,
All they wanted to do was drink. Yeah,
Yeah,
all they
like
wanted to
that's
do. Yeah, they were fun. I forgot about them until now.
I actually really enjoyed Animate.
Yeah,
Transform Animate. I actually liked that show. That was a really good show. Too
yeah,
bad they
no.
ended it.
Yeah. Well, it got a chance to tie everything up, so it's not like it was like cut
Yeah, it
short
did.
or anything. It did its 3 seasons, so
It did. It did.
yeah. But yeah, these guys, these guys.
See, I didn't watch, like, I think I've only caught a few episodes of the series, but just looking at that image, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely a Italian Constructicon, you know.
That's
Yeah.
Mario Luigi there, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
no, straight up.
Yeah.
And then later on, there was a third guy that they added called Dirt Boss, who was like this.
Oh, the little guy. That's right.
Yeah, here he is. He was this short guy who could like who would like boss everybody around and like control them and stuff, and was just angry.
Wow, that's the foreman.
Yeah, straight up.
Talk about Danny DeVito. That was Joe Pesci.
Yeah, that was straight up. That actually, yeah, that's what's going on.
Wow.
Animated was fun. Everybody should give it at least one. I thought it started at the first season was just all right, but like it took off. It's silly and it's very cartoony. So if you're down for that,
It was the stories were actually well written as well.
yeah,
And if you think about it, even the Bay universe took some examples.
Yeah.
From animated into the movie itself, right? So
hey, Lockdown started out was on this show before anything else. Before he was a bad guy in the movies, he came from this series.
Okay.
that is very true.
Funny, I've been thinking now of Constructicons. They could have been comprised of Italian, Greek, and and there's one other Irish.
Yeah, no, straight up. That's Lockdown as he originally appeared, by the way, before he became a movie star.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
See, I actually like Lockdown. Like Lockdown character, even in animated and actually in the movie itself, I thought he was a very cool character.
yeah.
Well, here's a comment from Professor D with ties into to a conversation that Mike and I had while we were at TFCon, which Mike, you then did point out that exact this exact thing that we were speaking on in terms of well, let me say. Professor D's comment says to clarify, grapple and hoist were not English, but post-colonial colonial British anglicized Indians.
Interesting.
Now, remember the Starbucks situation?
The Starbucks situation.
Yeah, Mike and I were having a conversation in terms of I can't remember fully the conversation, but you had pointed out something in Starbucks and said, go to Starbucks and you'll see exactly what related to the conversation.
Oh shit, I'm trying to remember it too.
I wasn't there, so I can't comment.
But it made my point, didn't it? I remember it made my point. That's why I said go to Starbucks.
Yeah, it made your point, and it ties in exactly to Dee's comment.
Okay, people, this is what happens when you get old and you got to take your vitamins, especially omega-3. Not omega supreme, omega-3s, okay?
That's also why he says on YouTube, other Autobots and white Transformers fans tend to discredit those two racists. Discredit in what way? Grapple and Hoist are like a couple of my favorite characters, so I'm like really interested in this interpretation.
Actually, I like Skylink.
But it's funny. It's like going around in different forums and groups and everything. It's like you start to realize that some of the characters that you grew up loving, there are people out there that can't stand those characters, and for whatever reason. Because I've always loved Hot Rod. There are people who hate Hot Rod. I mean, just basically on the premise of the movie, but there's certain other. I think there are people who don't like Blaster, and like who doesn't like Blaster. And certain other ones. I'm like, interesting. I never knew that there are people that dislike these characters.
Give me some Grapple and Hoist.
Oh, what happened here?
You're
meant to click on this guy.
Yeah, to show off these two. Yeah, so post-colonial British Indians. That'd be an interesting. That's an interesting way of looking at it. But yeah, regardless, there are a couple of cool Earthrise figures.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I knocked everything over. That's okay. I can fix that later.
Hey, there we go.
There we go.
See, so that would be my question. At what age do these people start not liking a specific character?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that could be any age.
No.
I mean, for instance, I was a kid and I wasn't too fond of certain season 3 characters, but
okay, well, hold on.
Actually, Rodimus, for one of them, I was not a fan of.
Why?
I'm more a fan of him as an adult because I understand his dynamic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's almost kind of proving I want to say not proving my point, but it's going on to my point. Why did you not like him at the very beginning?
Because he just seemed, I wouldn't say boring. You could say quote unquote boring, where it's just like he was introduced as Hot Rod as a kid, and we're kids, so we related to him. But now he's become this indecisive adult and just seems boring around all these other boring characters. But now being an adult, it's like now I appreciate Rodimus because I understand what was happening with him. But as a kid, it's like I disliked him.
Okay, so that's kind of going on what I'm saying. You're just kind of you're going from a negative to a positive, right? because usually as adults we go from positive to negative in a sense, right? And so, did I like Hot Rod at the very beginning? No. Why? Because they killed Optimus Prime. Like, no, right? And growing up, I understand what you're saying now, right?
Mm.
But then you have people, for whatever reasons, they always look for something that is not there, if you know what I mean, right?
Oh yeah, there's a large part of the population is like that.
Right. And so they want to break it down over a lot, over analyze it, and they start mentioning all these crazy things. And now that's why they don't like the specific figure, let's just say, because it represents something that, I don't know, triggered them, I guess. Right.
It's possible. Yeah.
I agree with Professor D's. Like, I love those two figures, and I'm like, yeah, they're a couple of my favorites. I got Lift Ticket. I'm gonna get Hauler. I love them.
Nice.
Springer and Hot Rod Italian. I mean, I would love to claim them because I like both of those characters. They don't immediately stick out as that, but I would be open towards them being that. Here's one, and where's the other one? It's over here. There we go.
Springer.
Well, I mean, they are green and red. All we need is a third white one, and there.
Hold on. Okay, so Springer and Hot Rod Italians? No, I say more Springer than Hot Rod.
Well, it's funny. I wouldn't even have put any ethnicities behind them. They're more like I know they remind me more of people in high school. Like we had Springers and we had Hot Rods. And funny enough, a couple of them were Italian, but a few were, all over the place.
Yeah, one of the weirdest things is the tech specs that comes with the original Hot Rod calls him an all-American boy.
Yes, this is true.
Are you talking about me, Spin?
What, as Hot Rod or Springer?
Either. Anthony's like, what's going on here? We went to high school together.
Yeah,
that might fall in because I'm thinking of the hockey team. I mean, most of those guys were Italian, as you were. Still are.
There were some Canadians on it, like some Canadians, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Well, I mean, Rowdy Piper. We've always said tie him in with Hot Rod.
You know what? I'm surprised. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I'm surprised they didn't base his character more like Roddy Piper because of the Hot Rod, shtick that he had, right?
Was he the one that was in They Live?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so who's Hot Rod fist fighting in an alley for like 10 minutes?
That scene is classic.
Yeah.
That was a good show. Put on these glasses. No, put them on. No,
yeah.
put them on.
What's the Transformers version of that?
Yes, what would be the Transformers version of that?
Damn. Okay, we're gonna have to get back because we're gonna be silent the whole entire time. Then.
Yeah.
That's a deep think moment. That should have been a Jess moment right there.
Yeah. And she's not. She's doing a late night shift, unfortunately, so she can't cut in. And
okay, we miss her.
Yeah. I was saying earlier. This is the type of person in regards to my hobby that I'm fortunate enough to have around. She came up to me the other day. And was like, Anthony, do you have all the Dinobots? And I was like, no. And she was like, why don't you? So.
Was that like a passive aggressive backhander there?
No, she was like, you should get them because
hurry up.
She likes dinosaurs. So she was like,
she's right because I have like a few Dinobots and I'm missing again. I know I've said this so many times already. I've with my move that I missed so many Transformers. Anyways, I want to recollect. Like I'm on a mission to finish that collection of G1 what's called Dinobots. So if anybody has anything to sell that are Dinobots, put them on our classified site so I can take a look at it and maybe I reach out to you and probably buy it from you.
Yeah. And D's saying Springer's based on Han Solo, right? So yeah. Is Harrison Ford Italian? I don't. What is? I don't know what Harrison Ford's background is.
He's probably a munchie cake. No, I'm gonna get in trouble for that now.
Yep. The algorithm is coming after us now.
Yep.
But hot rod is a hot rod.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
And I got a hot coffee, so there we go.
See, when you go through Calvin is still here. He's throwing in the laughs. I mean, when you go through some of the Facebook through the different Facebook groups, there are some comments. There's some images. The comments just go completely left, and some people would be like someone would be like, why are we being so immature here? And I'm like, no, really, the comments are the best comedy. Like, it's the best free comedy that you can get on the internet. Like, don't worry about searching up like comedy shows on YouTube. Just read through the comments, and I'm like, this is gold. Like I love these.
You know what? I think sometimes people just get too emotional. and it's like, I can see, like, this is going back to what you just said, Mike, because I can like see these people in my head, and they're like getting really emotional, and they're just like smashing their keyboard and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like laughing.
Oh, it's funny, as Professor D says, I like to pick up girls by telling them I have the biggest Dinobot, but then also adds a collection.
okay.
So, how do we transition?
Well, I mean, there's one meme that the easy transition. Like, there's one meme that what is it? Like, the guys will tell girls that they make they bring home 6 figures a month.
Jess has sent me that freaking meme. I swear to God.
Yeah, I've seen it like 1,000 times, but it's like they just mean they bought 6 Transformers figures for a month.
How much did? Okay, I think I brought home 6 figures from TFCon exactly. I might need to count, but I think that was the actual amount. Well, more if you count the bots, but like.
Yeah, so see, you brought if you count the bots, I think you brought home like 10 figures for the month. Like you're up there.
I got the alien here. I just been messing with him. This is a great figure, by the way. It's only tangentially Transformers related, but it's a lot of fun to mess around with.
Oh, nice.
Just the little mega box alien. Look, does the thing.
Nice.
Beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
Speaking about 6 figures. So, obviously I was in Quebec, like I mentioned before, and I was looking at some of the Transformers prices at the Walmart there. And I'm trying to pull up the picture if I can find it quickly, because I took a lot of pictures while I was there. They're bloody expensive. Like, I have to admit, Quebec is expensive. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are going to Quebec, it is beautiful. It is the Europe of Canada. You're going to see a lot of historical, beautiful buildings there and art. And you know what? The people weren't as bad as, a lot of people do mention. All the French are rude. No, they were great people. I met a lot of people there. They were beautiful people. But, man, it is expensive. So I found, I don't know, I'm going to try to pull this up. So I found the Legacy Blaster and Bulkhead. See if that pops up there. Can you see it?
Yep. I mean, they're blurry, but I can see them.
Okay, so now I'm going to try to find the price. And these were... So here's a price for this. Okay, so what do you see there?
Hey, 1697.
Right. For this, hold on. For this, the little itsy bitsy Transformers.
Oh boy, the
Wait,
core
those are
class guys.
17? Wow.
Yep.
Well, how much are they usually like here?
I don't know, man, but for almost 17, yeah, but their tax system is different, too. They do tax on top of tax.
Mm.
So again, 1697,
Mm.
right? And they're the hot rod, legacy little itsy bitsy tiny hot rods. And Calvin is mentioned on YouTube. Over there, they're $11.99, which that's the price that I expected to be buying these things. I still think $11.99 is too much. That's just my opinion. Then I found movie studio cup and blur. I'm going to start with cup. See that price? Blow me up.
It's too blurry.
Is it 25.97?
No, wait.
35. Yeah,
Oof.
35E.
Okay. For this guy. Wait, there is more. Hold on. So this guy here is the blur one. $35.97 for this guy.
Ooh,
Man.
yeah, that is pricey.
Then I think that's it. Yeah, I was trying to find some other prices in here, but you know how the Walmart shelves are. They're not that well organized,
No.
so you don't know what the prices are. But let's just say some of the other prices that I saw there, like let's just say Voyager sizes, whatever, you're looking at least 89 to about 115.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill, I need some of that Amazon $5 a deal hook up there, man.
Yeah.
Well, Calvin earlier was saying, there we go, laughing is awesomeness. We live in a world where some people don't understand this anymore.
Very true.
Professor D, and both on YouTube. So it said the most ethically ambiguous voice in G1 is Cosmos.
Yeah.
What's your best or favorite guess? Which I do believe that.
I remember hearing that he was supposed to be, regardless of how it came off, he was supposed to be an impression of Peter Lorre. I don't know what his background is, but that's what the actor playing him was trying to do.
Interesting. Okay,
I would say Italian because Cosmo.
Calvin also says, "Wow" to the figures you were showing. Katie's saying over there it's $11.99, and then also says they will drop down to $5.99 this fall.
What happened here?
And for the recent ones you were showing, he says, "Wow, they're clearing them out here, $15.99."
Doesn't happen here.
No.
Does not happen here. I'd rather buy an American, like I'd rather buy that in American for $15.99, right?
It still costs less.
Exactly. You just took the words out of my mouth. So that's why I go to American websites and I'd rather buy Transformers from there. And that's sad because no, not necessarily. Because sometimes, depending on how much you spend, shipping is free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's sad because I'm taking Canadian dollars out of Canada and giving it to the States, where that Canadian money could be staying here in Canada and it could be benefiting us. But unfortunately, I don't want to get into a political conversation about this, but let's just say our leaders are not doing a very good job.
No. Have they ever?
And I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. What? I'd say we're getting close to the 11 o'clock mark. I think we should call it an evening.
But wait. Do you know
There's
where the
more.
Transformers are?
Yeah.
Speaking of what, American.
There's one right here.
Okay.
In my hand, I'm trying the car mode again.
He's been my desk transformer for the last week.
Yeah, I always up until just now, because I stuck him up on a Lost Light shelf. Skids was my desktop transformer because he's my current review subject for tomorrow.
Nice.
Okay.
Legacy Skid. You can't really see him over there, but he's over there with my Lost Light guys.
Can I ask? Okay, hold on. I'm going to interrupt you there for a second. What the hell? It's like, what's up with Skid? Like, why is such a, like? I don't understand. Like, I don't really remember him in G1.
I mean,
he had like a few pages in certain comic books, and yet his toys is always getting released.
Yeah, well, he was a rare figure in G1, so that's why he got released a few times. You say he was in a few pages of the comics. He got a whole issue to himself, so if you liked Marvel, you knew about him. In Japan, he's popular because the car he changed into, a Honda City Turbo, was a popular model of vehicle. And of course, in the 2010s, he got a big central role in More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light. So that gave him like modern day attention. So
yeah, and I think with Skids, Skids fell in, like, for me personally, he fell into that handful of characters. There was like, these are cool characters that just never got featured, and that was like between Skids, Pipes, Hubcap, Tailgate, like a few of like the second line of mini bots. And then realizing the same thing kind of happened with the Headmasters, where it's like they've came up with a bunch of Headmasters and Target Masters. They only primarily focused on certain characters and like almost left out all the cool characters, like the Horicons, for instance. Like those two are two characters. They got no feature whatsoever. And so it's like, or Piranacon, another set of cool characters, just completely ignored and forgotten.
I get what you're saying because they look cool. It's almost like the Star Wars Boba Fett phenomena, if you know what I mean. Yeah, like this character that just came out once in a while that you saw, but he looked cool. Skid for me didn't look cool. Sorry. And that's my Murder Prime moment, okay? I don't get Skid. I don't like his figure. I don't like how he looks. I just don't understand why. Like everywhere I go, it's like, oh, a new release of Skid or a new reissue or this, that. I'm like, buddy, like there's like other characters I'd rather have, like what Mike mentioned, right? I'd rather have those characters coming out because they look cool, right? But Skid, just it's I don't know. It's like butt flap. I don't know, man.
Oh no, Mudflap's an insult though.
No, but you get my point, right? I'd rather have Mudflap.
Oh,
does this man anger you?
He does. I'm gonna murder Prime as you know what.
Well, you just did exactly what you questioned other people for doing.
This is not me being as an adult being triggered, okay? I just and I'm not living in my mom's basement. But anyways,
well, no, you have a character that you dislike.
I just don't understand this character because he doesn't look like I said. You mentioned a whole bunch of other characters that looked pretty cool. Like for example, between all the Seekers, Skywarp was the cool looking one. Because of its colors and everything. Even though it looked just like Thundercracker and Starscream, but we all like Skywarp because he was cool looking.
I was never into the Seekers, the original Seekers.
Okay,
I mean,
I will say
Thrust
majority.
is my guy.
Okay, I will say majority like Skywarp. Okay, but the whole point is, you had these other characters, and I just don't get them. I really don't. Maybe I can understand what. Hold on, I shouldn't say maybe. I understand where Anthony's coming from, meaning the Japanese, what's called fans over there like him because he's a popular vehicle over there. I get that, but I'm
I
I'm
liked him.
looking as a North American, lens, and I just don't understand that character. Never liked him. Never understood why he was reissued so many times. That's my Murder
Well,
Prime moment.
well, that's funny because then that falls under Raiden, and like any Japanese style Transformers. Whereas like the one Hasbro Pulse like some months ago when a lot of people couldn't understand like this release of the character, and I'm like, well, these characters were kind of more. These characters were kind of more the mainstay before Transformers existed.
Hold
You
on.
find,
I'd rather have what's it called? I'm gonna get to D here in a second. I'd rather have Star Saver. I'd rather have Desaurus. Okay. I'd rather have what's it called? Rodin, like he said, rolling the trains over there because they're
Right.
reminders. Okay. I'd rather have those figures. I'd rather buy those figures before I buy skids.
If I may direct your attention to the image I added, it's a extremely
Oh,
well
yes.
known panel from the Marvel issue that he starred in.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, I remember that image from way back.
Is that
Yeah.
is that the reason why people like him because of the girl?
Not directly, but no.
No.
If you read Marvel, he was in it for quite a bit. Like he got the one issue that was about him, but that wasn't the only one he was in. He was like a member of the core team for quite a while.
Mhm.
But yeah, like he you go to his wiki article, like this is his Marvel section. Like he's got a lot
I
of
know.
screen time.
I get that. Like,
And I mean, yeah, and he
ugh.
just lucked out getting like 2 lines in an NG1.
I don't even remember him. Put it that way. That's how bad it is. That's why I don't understand why the reissue of this particular character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's all his legacy one partially just happened too, because like he hadn't gotten a War for Cybertron update yet.
Oh boy.
They're just moving down the checklist, you know.
Was,
Well, you guys keep on buying them. That's all I'm gonna say. And
Calvin was saying,
Can you get to hold on? Oh, you're gonna go to Calvin? Okay.
yeah,
Corner, sorry.
I'm waiting for them to drop down to $9.99. Cutler, Bumblebee, Target is kicking everything out for a new shipment. And then D says G1 Warpath equals not masterpiece level.
I disagree. I think every mini bot is a miniature masterpiece.
Yep. D says my desktop is Bad Cube Warpath. That's a good little Rubik's dude. And it also says Orlati's triggered, then tries backpedaling. Guarantee you will fail and keep digging in deeper.
Where that backpedal? I'm not riding a bicycle. Where?
The reason Skids was so marginalized and not allowed to talk in G1, even though he was the smartest Autobot there, because he was Japanese.
Yeah. Again, Honda City Turbo, popular Japanese car.
Well, I'm thinking that these was calling out the backpedaling, as I was saying, where it's like you said, well, you don't understand fans who dislike certain characters. He just started disliking Skids all over the place.
Wait a minute. I said, as when we're younger,
Mhm.
right, as kids,
Right.
we saw these things on TV called Transformers, and we're like blown out of our mind watching these Transformers. And did we like certain characters? And did we like certain and did we dislike certain characters? Yes, because it was playing on our emotions, right? As kids. As we got older, we started to understand certain things, or we started to overanalyze certain things as well too when it came to certain characters. And we can find things and get triggered. That's what I was talking about. In this particular case, what I'm just saying is that I don't understand this character at all, period. As a child or even as an adult now, why this character is being re-released so many times that you can buy when there's other figures that I think are much cooler that I will spend money on for sure and buy that. Like, for example, they were just showing recently on YouTube. Sorry, Transform Basics. They were doing Desaurus.
Hmm.
I thought, you know what? I remember him, and I was watching that video, and I saw the lack of what's called toy issues for that particular figure. I'm like, wow, they should actually make a really cool figure out of this. I'd rather see that versus Skids.
They probably will. Star Sabers came out. He needs his rival.
Yep.
Well, Professor D says, "Spin Murder Prime Dorlati here. Timestamp it." but you know what? Going with your statement,
D smoking again.
I mean, but then here's the one thing. Going with your statement, how many versions of Devastator and Minosaur and Superion have been released in the toys?
I agree.
And how many versions of Piranacon has been released?
I agree. I figure somebody like you will say something on what I'm saying right now regarding that particular figure. But again, everybody understands the aerial bots. Everybody understands, the Stunticons. Everybody understands the Constructicons, right? Those are popular figures. I like fucking look at Bumblebee. Everywhere you go, there's a Bumblebee for sale, regardless of what generation.
We don't even want to hear about Bumblebee
exactly,
anymore.
Right? But Skids?
Comic book readers know.
I mean, Omega Supreme needs to be featured. Like Bumblebee's been featured, over featured, and just like we need an Omega Supreme.
We just got a giant one in Siege. He was a Titan.
Mm-hmm. But there needs to be more focus on him. Like there's many other characters that the focus could be put upon. I mean, the fact that they created Mudflap and Skids when they could have just used like the proper Skids.
Mm-hmm.
Had they done that, what you just said, Mike, I probably wouldn't have this conversation right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I understand why they're re-releasing this particular figure because of the Bay universe. But they didn't do that.
So it's So I mean, how many other fans out there are probably like, well, who's this Skids character? Would have been a perfect opportunity to sell him.
Now, is there another figure that looks like Skid?
Like G1 Skids? No.
I'm talking about what's called another similar figure that has the same mold as Skid. I should say. Sorry.
There's a couple of them. If you're talking about the Legacy one, they're doing Burnout in the Velocitron line.
And then I can understand why they're doing it then.
If I was going to say Braun and Outback, or but not. I mean, similar, but not close similar. It's funny. I could throw in the Skids argument is similar to Marvel fans and She-Hulk.
Explain.
There's many people in forums that once MCU mentioned that they're coming out with the She-Hulk TV series, a lot of people were saying, well, why are they now creating a female version of the Hulk and like just randomly creating characters, not realizing She-Hulk existed from whenever Stan Lee and everyone else created all these characters, like almost 60 years ago.
The problem is that if you look at all the movies now that Marvel's coming out with phase 4, from 4 to 5 and even 6, every lead character is becoming female now.
I think they're kind of switching back from because they just mentioned it, the newer phase that's coming out.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Who's going to be the new Iron Man? Ironheart.
Yeah, that was a thing from the comics already.
No, I get that, but if you look at it, it's all being pushed to females, right? So that's the argument. For me, I don't care. All I care about is a good storyline.
Mm-hmm.
If the storyline sucked, I'm gonna call it what it is. It sucked. Just like what I'm saying about skids. Hold on, what did he say about me again? Her life
Oh.
being a bully.
Oh my god, another one of these. Jesus.
Go back to that one.
Okay.
Burnout?
No, Orlati, hold on. So the Orlati's being a bully. No, it's called Orlati's doing Murder Prime.
Murder Prime versus Murder Prime.
Exactly.
Oh, speaking of which,
Skids mode.
Calvin is still listening,
Yeah.
and we'll have to bring this up in another show because he had mentioned in a few streams the complaint about certain YouTubers getting Transformers ahead of everyone else in order to do the reviews.
Okay.
There's a Facebook forum that I came across maybe a couple weeks ago, and one of the admins in that group actually has a group of people in a petition where they're trying to take down one of those trying to take down that YouTube channel for the fact of that they're stealing the Transformers from the manufacturing place.
Hold on. I'm a little confused here for a second. First of all, Professor D on YouTube saying now Orlati's switching to hating on one Fed bots. Well, I'm not hating on Fed bots. I just finished saying I don't care who's about the movie. All I care is about a good storyline. If the storyline sucks, I'm gonna say it sucks. If the storyline is good, I'm gonna say it's good. Look at
I'll be back in a minute.
Look at what's called Black Panther with Wakanda Forever. Who do you think is going to be the new Black Panther? Sorry, spoiler, but it's going to be Shuri. We know that already. So, anyways, what was Mike saying? Been saying about Calvin was saying that people are upset at YouTubers because they're getting Transformers first.
Yeah, the British guys that get leaks and do reviews of them on YouTube, which I like. I don't have a problem with that, honestly. If somebody's willing to buy these things in advance, if somebody's willing to sell them in advance, like why not?
Yeah, hold on, but who's that somebody? Hold on. If we blew up, let's just say tomorrow, and we got like 10 million subscriber. I just stole that from Tyrone Magnus because I think he's a pretty good, another YouTuber there. Million subscribers.
Wouldn't we no longer exist if we blew up?
I know. Touche. But if we end up having a lot of subscribers tomorrow, okay, and Hasbro decides to send us some prototypes or advanced Transformers to do some reviews, I don't see an issue with that.
That's different.
Yeah,
that's different.
This guy, the most common one, I think he's talking about Prime versus Prime, the British YouTuber.
Okay,
is that he buys like figures that were like presumably taken out of the factory by factory workers so that he can review them in advance on his YouTube channel. And, some people have a problem with that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's different in terms of if the company is like, hey, you guys have a large fan base, let us send our products out to you guys, as opposed to like, there's someone in our company stealing stuff even and releasing it even before we're mentioning it. And it's happened in the music industry. And at one point, there was a legal battle and stores got locked down for that same reason. Because it's different if a label sends us the music to play in the clubs, as opposed to someone in the record company has leaked out the music to the DJ. Because then the DJ shouldn't have had that music to begin with.
But whose fault is that? Is that the person buying the Transformer or the person that stole it out of the factory and selling it?
The person who stole it.
Right.
I mean,
and so if anybody should be pissed off at the end of the day, shouldn't it be the factory, meaning Hasbro, being pissed off about that, and then they go to YouTube and say, hey, not even to YouTube, you send a letter. That's why we have this legal system. You send a letter to that YouTuber and say, cease and dismiss and stop doing that shit, or we're going to go to YouTube and take you down and fine you, sue you, whatever case is.
And
So I
that's
don't understand. I don't understand why other people are getting pissed off.
Yeah.
If anything, those other people should be excited that they're able to see these toys firsthand. I would
Yeah.
be.
It's a very non-issue for me. I'm just
Yeah. Go ahead, Anthony. I was agreeing.
no.
with
That's about all. That's about all I had to say about it. Was I'm like, it's a very non-issue for me. I'm just like, sure, let him do what he wants to do.
you. Yeah.
Only haters care when he gets them. Snitches get stitches. Yeah, that's Professor D's basically got it said.
No, I don't. I just don't understand why other people are gonna put a petition out there. First of all, be happy that someone's able to get this and you can see it. And if anybody has to do something about it, it should be the creators, meaning Hasbro, right?
well, but that's exactly it. They're not happy because it's not them.
That is very true.
You know, I mean, we look at our channel, you know, we could say, oh, this other channel of other goofy guys, they got skids before we got skids. So we're just going to be a bunch of like angry guys now and just get upset because they got this character in hand and could do the review. So let's find ways to take down their channel, as opposed to they got skids. Okay, who cares? They're reviewing it. We got grapple.
So
we're
now
reviewing it.
hold on. I'm gonna put a petition in now. Spin is that we're gonna have to change the name of our show to Murder Prime, and we have to go to all these YouTubers that, especially they have 4 guys or at least minimum 4 guys that are goofy, and we got to go murder them.
You do know that's how YouTube has been operating for the last, I think probably the last 5 or 6 years. And I think YouTube is in phase, I think it's probably phase 6 or 7 now, if not phase 8. Because earlier YouTube, you know, you start recording, you put your videos out there and be like, hey, I like cutting grass. This is how I cut grass. And you put the video out there. The second phase of YouTube is like, you know, let's add a little lighting to the grass and a little graphics and effect and everything and sponsorship. Then the third phase of YouTube is like, well, let's make it a whole big production deal. And, you know, and it's like, we're not just talking about grass. Like now we're just, it's a whole big YouTube video. But now later on down the phases, oh, this other YouTuber talks about grass. Let's start battling them online. And then you get into the other phase where it's like, now these 2 channels that were just innocently talking about grass, they're constantly fighting each other and arguing. Now we get into the other phase where you've got another YouTube channel that they've got millions of views because they're talking about the 2 YouTube channels that are arguing with each other about grass.
Yeah, it's the
It's
freaking
nonsense.
drama pipeline.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just pure drama.
So let's cause some drama then.
You know, and I think a lot of people in this sense forgot that Transformers are just toys.
Mhm.
Like,
No,
it's just toys that we grew up with. Like,
don't say that.
I didn't say that. I said toys.
Don't know.
I did not use the word that.
My goodness. I need a safe space now because you just triggered me.
Oh boy, here we go. Professor D said, kids know spin is black, grass is weed.
You
The algorithm is going to tear us apart with that one.
know what? I was thinking the same thing too. I was thinking about the same people. We're talking about grass that you grow in front of your house, not the stuff that you grow in the back of your house. In a pot.
You see, like anything can be taken incorrectly in any level. You know, someone's just like, well, don't talk about this certain topic because it's going to trigger someone. And like this topic about lasers from green aliens on, you know, the 4th quadrant of the planet, like how did that affect you? Like you're the 1 in a billion person that would have triggered.
Well, I'm being triggered right now because can we get this image of Skid versus Skid here? Like seriously.
The real one's better. I looked at it and I'm like, Skids looks better than Savant. Look at this.
I like the Skids over Savant.
Yeah, look at the close-ups of their faces. Regular Skids is on the right, Savant's on the left. That's not even close.
No, not even close. The Savant looks like that funny version of Blur that came out a couple years ago.
My opinion is I don't care.
Yes, we know. You're the world's #1 Skids hater.
Yeah.
Not the movie one, the G1 guy. You just don't really like him.
I just don't. No, whatever. I'm gonna get D's gonna come in there and start saying something about me. So it's like, put it this way, like you know how those commercials about Colgate, 5 out of 4 dentists recommend this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm that one dentist that didn't recommend it. You know what I mean? So don't get skid.
You use Crest.
Exactly. Don't get skid.
Get Crest.
Get somebody else. I don't know. What do you want to get? Get somebody else. I'm trying to find somebody. I'm pulling up planes. Oh, this guy fell. I'll save you. Can I get a car? Like, seriously, like I got all these planes here, man.
Transformation number 3 is gone. Marginally more successful on him. I just can't get these things down here to sit flat.
Yeah, I'm noticing that.
Everything else on him I've gotten to work now. Like, and it's not bad. It's a nice little stumpy car mode. It says hubcap on the bumper, and the wheels spin nicely. Cool. I just can't get these guys here to stay pegged in. These little bottom things.
Speaking of jazz, get this guy. Yeah. There you go. Better looking than Skid. Because he's jazzy. Like you ever watch Big Bang Theories when he was talking about the cats? He's Sazzle.
I've only watched a few of those episodes. I've never had a chance to really get into it.
So this is my cat. He's Jazzy. There you go.
This is my Skids. I'm publishing his review sometime tomorrow.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, why they call them Skids? Is it because
here we go. Here we go.
It's because when he drifts on the road, he leaves skids,
marks?
Yeah, with his tires.
Oh, with his tires, okay.
Professor D on YouTube says the follow-up to that Alpha Trion and Orion Pax 2-pack should be a twin pack of DevCon with Dion. Dion could be remolded from an Ironhide design. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
They're doing I said this already, they're doing a Orion Pax and Alpha Trion 2-pack.
I get why they're doing that, because if you go back to the G1, right, like, that whole relationship between the two, right?
Yeah.
But I do agree with D about having a Devon pack, because I thought that would be pretty cool where, when you're doing your I don't know, when you're having fun with your toys, right? You can have Alpha Tron coming out and say, I present you Optimus Prime, and then Nick's been in the background and his brother, Ultra Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion. But I like, but that's another conversation there. Is Devon or Dion, whatever you want to call him, is he Ultra Magnus?
The Fun Publication Comics purposely avoided answering the question.
Oh, wow.
I wonder why.
Because the mystery is more interesting than the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And is Magnus the same as Ultra Magnus?
Well, in animated, Magnus was a rank.
That is true, but I'm talking about we talked about this already, but in the comic book.
Yeah. There's the new... Nice. Yeah, that's a retool of Studio Series Cup, the same one you showed us earlier. They just changed a lot of parts on him. He's a heavy retool. And then they modified Scourge to make Alpha Trion.
You know what?
Here we go.
No,
No,
you don't know,
I'm not gonna say like I'm not gonna go too negative. Like I'm glad that they gave Alpha Trion a transformation mode. I personally probably wouldn't have did that, right?
Hmm.
But I'm happy that they gave him a transformation mode. I kind of wish if they gave him something a little bit more unique to him, right?
Yes.
Like just something different for him. It's not like, oh look, his Scourge repainted, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, like he basically didn't need to transform, but yeah, like I would have preferred a more a Cybertronian truck or vehicle as opposed to a Scourge.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like Scourge looks like a G2 figure now with the different colors.
Well,
Yeah.
the Scourge at times looks like an iron that you use for your clothes.
See now, why did Alpha Trion? See here's the thing now. Now I can get it really into a deep discussion here. You know, why did they do Alpha Trion as a flying mode when he's the one that creates all these, cars and trucks? Shouldn't he be a car or a truck himself? Like, come on, people. Hasbro, wake up here.
Well, as Calvin said, just plain lazy on their part.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also says, imagine if Dion figure that converts to a white prime by adding armor, and then a Magnus by an additional set of armor.
See, that'd be cool.
Yep.
Mhm. I think the set looks great. Of course, original molds would always be better.
Yeah. I'm not denying, like, I like the concept and the idea behind the 2-pack. I think it's a great idea. I just kind of like, I'm just giving my own personal opinion here. It's just more like an original mold.
Hmm.
But we can always wish, right?
Aye.
All
Well,
right.
I think we should call it another successful evening.
Yeah.
Professor D says, "Guys, Alpha Trine is a hovercraft that's still a landish vehicle. Wait, which hovercraft looks like Scourge?
Yeah.
Sea spray.
Maybe that's a Cybertronian hovercraft that he floats over the rust of sea.
Maybe.
Oh, Kevin says, Alpha Trine is a triple changer. Wait, triple changer?
First I heard of that.
I know.
Yeah. In which timeline? I mean, he didn't even transform from how we remember him growing up.
Hmm.
Well, hold on. He did transform from young to old. Right?
Well, so then at that point, he was probably like in his 30s when they revisited him in season 3. Then he's
Yeah.
probably in his 30s. So then at some point we're seeing him in his 50s, but we were introduced to him in his like 60s, 70s. So that's his 3 modes right there.
Well, D's putting up here something. His name. Okay, sorry, Professor D on YouTube. His name is Tryon. That's 3. Yes. So we saw him 3 times in G1? Calvin's saying Power of the Primes. He's saying Power of the Trinity. So are you saying he's the father and
the son?
And Optimus Prime is the son? And when Optimus Prime dies and goes into the Matrix, that's the spirit?
That's it right there.
There you go. Going back to Calvin's thing there, Power of the Primes. I don't remember Alphatron transforming in the Prime. I don't even remember Alphatron in the Power of the Primes because they're
He was
integrated.
like a little Prime Master figure. Let me find him on his page here.
Like I watched some of Power of the Primes, not all
It
of it.
wasn't on the show.
Oh, a figure that was for sale.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like it was this little guy. He fit inside a Pretender shell. Looked nothing like the typical Alpha Trion.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was Alpha Trion with cloudburst, or I mean landmine decoy armor, because he was meant to also be homaging one of the Pretenders.
Okay.
Oh, Calvin mentioned that. Calvin on YouTube says I have the figure.
Why am I not surprised?
Calvin has every figure.
I know.
Between Calvin and Bill, they have every figure.
Holy crow, man. Well, at least people could say when we do a toy review, regardless if we do it live or people go to our website called Children of Primus under news and reviews and read an amazing article from Anthony. When there you go. You're supposed to do this or one of these what the kids are doing today. You know, we have a lot of Transformers that we can take from and look from. So that's the cool thing about this show. That nobody sends us anything. We actually go and buy them. Now, if we're not the first to show it, that's okay. But at least we do talk about it, we show it, and we write about it. So, and it's more than one Transformers that gets transformed on our show.
And our figures aren't stolen.
Exactly.
The Professor D, I think, is replying to Calvin. You can keep it
In a box.
Under other boxes.
Hey, don't laugh, because Calvin and I were box collectors too. Okay.
Yes, but there has to be a figure that in the box you're like, you know what? Let me just put this box behind the other box because the one in front looks cooler than this one.
You know what it is? I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to speak on Calvin's behalf, but maybe for me, it's like when I look at my box Transformer, it's like when I go to the store and I'm grabbing my figure. So it's like I'm kind of recreating that whole thing again of me going into towers and saying, "Hey, I wasn't able to buy you, but now I can." Right? So it's like replaying that whole,
So it's like Christmas morning, like every time you come to the boxes.
Reliving my youth again. There you go.
Well, Professor D says we should start raiding TF factories.
If there is a TF factory around where we live, I'd be knocking on their door, trust me. I'd be doing a Calvin.
You've come to bargain.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if they had the factories here, why not show up at the door and say, "Hey, let us review some figures on our channel."
But there isn't.
No, Canadians don't have that privilege.
Well. Anyway, so going back to Anthony, when I really interrupted him about skids. So what do you got coming up, Anthony?
A review of skids, photos, and a write-up sometime tomorrow. I took all the pictures earlier today before I put them back up on the Lost Light shelf. That'll be coming out sometime tomorrow, probably tomorrow afternoon on childrenofprimus.com/news and reviews. And next Monday, there will be something else from my TFCon stash because I have a big pile of stuff to write about from that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I got going on.
So here's my request. Can you do like a picture or maybe a setup of your? Oh my god! You just said the name, and I know the comic book series.
Lost
the
Light.
ID that. Thank you. I'm here thinking light something, and I'm like, I'm losing what you said, and I'm like, I should have just said Lost Light. Could we see like? Did you collect all your figures from the Lost Light yet, or is some missing?
That comic had a huge cast, and not everybody was important. So, what a complete collection looks like is kind of up to you, you know. But I think I got mostly everybody. Skids was one I was missing that was like a big central guy, which is one of the reasons I got him, right?
Okay, so can you? I like to see an image of that, or I like to see a display of your Lost Light figures.
Well, let me put him.
Not
back.
right now. You don't have to do it right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. One of the reasons that I was like tomorrow afternoon was I was trying to take a picture of my shelf over here, and it's too dark, so I'm gonna wait till there's sunlight in here for me to get a nice photo of that.
Okay, because that was actually a really good comic book series, right?
Yeah.
And so I would like to see. I would like to see your collection there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was planning on taking one to show during the Skids review because I'm like, it's a part of this complete Lost Light crew.
Cool.
Cool.
So we got Professor D again on YouTube. Orlati, that's me, would knock on the back door, kind of, with a credit card when the factory is closed. I'll plead the fifth. Plausible. I'll leave it at that.
Allegedly.
You know, I kind of, rescind that statement there. You know, it's because what? Because I'm from like Jane Finch.
He's from Jane Finch.
And so are you.
I'm not participating in that part of the conversation whatsoever. You know Soundwave, he's there, but you don't know he's there.
But I see you.
Do you?
But now I hear you. It's only logical.
That's why you're Shockwave.
Exactly. All right, boys and girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, or whatever the hell you want to call yourselves.
The algorithm's attacking us this stream like, oh dear.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as neutral as possible, I guess. Anyways, I would like to thank everybody for coming out and joining us. I want to apologize for not being around lately. It's because I've work and my trip that I had to take for vacation for my family. So I want to give my boys here a big, credit and a big hand of applause for keeping the show going, because you guys were doing awesome. And just like what D said here, well played, gentlemen, all around. But I want to give Spin and Anthony for carrying the show, without D and myself sometimes not being on there. So thank you guys. I really appreciate all the work you guys have been doing. So, and then also to Kevin and Bill for jumping on as well too, man. So appreciate that.
Yes. Also to Primetime Steven, he jumped in on the comments earlier. So we have to shout out everyone that watches, and I mean there's probably others who are also watching that we don't know, but shout outs to them as well for joining us every Sunday.
And saying that, I know people watch our show afterwards, right? So if you guys can like and subscribe and hit that notification button, leave some comments, that will definitely help us out. And if you can also, share. When I say share, like share into the groups about our show. And And last but not least, if you guys can also help the show as well too by leaving some donations and what we can uh, you know do better for you guys, right? Because at the end of the day, this is not our first thing. Obviously, a lot of us have other jobs, but we want to take time and do this, and we want to do it right for you guys and for everybody else, right? So please, help us out by doing all those things, and that'd be great, and truly thankful as well too. And you can do that by coming to our website at childrenofprimus.com. Again, we do have a classify section. It's free to use. And then we have our news and reviews. It is a one-stop shop website. So you can always read Anthony's articles. And you can also pick up other news outlets as well too, because Spin, very creative person, is able to pick up all the other sites and grab all their news and put it onto our site. So it's not like you have to open up many tabs to get to those different kind of news that are out there. You can catch it all on childrenofprimus.com. So thank you for thank you. That's all. That's all I got to say. Over to you, boys.
And that's why you are the salesman.
I thought I was Shockwave.
Shockwave could be a salesman in a certain extent. We just you just don't want to buy what he's selling though.
Right. Yeah.
And Professor D says, except for that, whatever you want to call yourself slipped. Jesus Christ. But he also says, agree Orlade, hats off to Spin and Anthony for holding it down. So thank you, sir.
Bro, I'll be here rain or shine unless I'm not in the country. Literally, because I'm going on vacation later.
Well, enjoy yourself, and we will talk to you guys next week. So, peace out.
Peace out.